this is what I'm doing, the pre-show and the intermission,
That's
and
your
I'm
task.
so focused on this, and I haven't even listened to anything else that's going on.
That's for sure. I used to, well, you probably don't remember the old theater, do you? Because you were in school still.
Yeah, no.
But it was neat. We used to go down to the one there in Kensington. No, not Kensington. Sorry. The old school one, the old school theater, Plaza Theater. Pretty neat.
That's pretty
Yeah,
gnarly.
it was, and then it got just packed. It was rammed. So we like new venue. So yeah, it's cool. But
Yeah, it's nice,
it's
and
very nice.
I think we're gonna get a lot of people in here tonight. And
Mm-hmm.
I heard the films are really good.
Yeah, and you guys have a couple like commission films, eh? Or
Yep.
like yeah, that's neat. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be really good.
Yeah, awesome. Cool.
Yeah. How was this year's bunch of kids?
Good. Yeah, well, the nines we had we had our first survival camp a few weeks ago with the grade nines, anyways. Like I had 50 of them, two tarps. It's pretty sweet. And so they got a whole good run through right of everything, and then they're gearing up for the winter camp. Eights, yeah, same. I got about 50 of them ready to go for the coast. Just applying, applications and interviews, that process, and then working on the ski camp kind of stuff. Because you guys went, yeah, I took you guys down to Castle Mountain, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so working on the ski kind of camp stuff in January and where I want to go with them.
Thought that was what was happening. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's a full speed here, that's for sure. So it's nice.
Our director, Switcher, is going to give me the countdown. It's 5:59. Madeline, you're watching the time.
Alrighty. Sounds good.
So if you can give me maybe like a 40-second countdown, and I'm going to relay that countdown to you.
Okay.
And so we're about 40 seconds away right now.
Okay.
So just give me a 30, a 20, and then the countdown from there.
Cool.
And then you're going to switch. You're going to zone to whatever camp you think is best. Audio will take care of the rest. I'll count down to 3 seconds for Ethan. And then Ethan, I think don't look into the camera, just look at your guest.
Yep.
And the camera switches with you, Madeline. And then audio will give the countdown as well. And we'll go. So
Excellent.
how many more seconds now?
And you're gonna get the money shot.
20 seconds?
No, it's cool. It's a cool idea. Like I thought, especially for the live streamings, right? They need something to fill time a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I was looking at it, and last year it was just like the same like 10-second video on loop for like
10
2
seconds.
hours.
9,
So yeah, I figured this would be kind of fun.
Yeah, it's cool.
5, 4.
Alrighty, we are in. Ooh, it's even projecting in the theater. That's exciting. So, you excited to be my first guest? I'm a future fame star on the podcast. I'm gonna go television famous with this.
Yeah, maybe a new Etol career.
Yeah.
I know Etol students are always looking for career options, quote unquote, when they graduate. It's like the now what question. This could be it.
Yeah, exactly. No Etoler ever knows what they're gonna do when they graduate, and maybe this is what I do right here.
Could be. Yeah, yeah.
I've already determined that I'm chasing the Friend of Etol award. That's what I need. That's my career opportunity is Friends of Etol, just to be back here for the fame.
That's right. Yeah, no, yeah. There's been some big ones out there. So definitely a few. Well, I think last year was Rebecca and a few alumni. So
Yeah.
yeah, good chance.
There we go. First real question. At what point when you were growing up did you realize that like the outdoors and teaching in the outdoors is really what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I think, well, like my parents were teachers, but even that being said, I never really led that way necessarily in high school and graduating. I thought about teaching and wanted to be involved with kids. And then, yeah, I think the outdoor world, like I very, very lucky growing up in BC, and I would come to Alberta lots as family holidays and ski, hike, bike, all that kind of stuff. And then, moved here for university and just stayed. And then the more I started teaching, yeah, my eyes would open up to this outdoor ed world, and I was like, what is this? I can teach this? Hold on. And I was going to be, like I had my vision kind of set as a phys ed kind of teacher and some other kind of things, and my doors opened and some opportunities came open for me. As you know, it'd be one of my first kind of years at Vincent Massey, and yeah, I just fell in love right away. And I think that outdoor ed is a class that you can just see kids instantly just grow and have that beautiful ability just to express themselves and explore. So it was a no-brainer to me. This is what I want to pursue and be involved in.
That's awesome. Did you did you go to school? You said you went to school in Calgary. You go to U of C or MIU?
Yeah, so I went to, I started in BC, at college there, then moved to Lethbridge for U of L, finished my BA there, and then I came to Calgary and I went to U of C, not Mount Royal.
Oh.
At the time, Mount Royal, well, Mount Royal didn't have the, they didn't have the university, the phys ed applied program at the time. And actually, even though I laugh because when I used to walk into the Etol classes to help set things up, it was definitely like a granola, like hippie, fresh from the climbing wall. Like I'm like, oh, this is Etol class. These are the khakis, the flannel. And then I went through a phase of having the business kids join in, and now it's a beautiful mix of kids now. But yeah, the original Etolers, they used to be, oh, this is Etol, and it would smell like campfire in the classrooms. That's for sure.
Yeah. So did you teach before? What did you teach? You taught gym before you taught outdoor education? Did you go right into outdoor education?
Well, gym's a person or a place, but phys ed is a class.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. So I taught phys ed, some science as well. I think my first year with you, I think I was actually full outdoor ed. I had a bit of a mix, right? And then when kind of my mentor, Mr. East, when he retired, I was very, very lucky to be able to take over the program and add things, modify things for my liking, and very respectfully keep things traditionally as that way. And throughout the years, it's, my metaphor is kind of like a garden, right? I'm able to keep certain things the same, keep growing and harvesting it, but then it's been beautiful, able to add to it and new challenges, new things, and adapt as well.
Yeah, I think teaching is one of those super cool things where like you can never there's no finished product for being a teacher. You're just always getting better, and the more you do it, the better you'll be. It's not the more you do it, the worse. It's not like you're gonna get any worse the more you teach, unless you stop trying.
Yeah, I think the best thing about teaching is really it's a lifelong learning, and I'm okay with that. I want to keep learning and try new things, try new trips, adventures, and I've been at Massey now for a long time. But people would ask me, hey, like, what's next for you? What's next? Do you want to move on or try this role? And to be honest, it's like my analogy I just gave. I'm able to enjoy the fruits of labor from the past and those expeditions and trips and adventures, but then always have new ideas for new things and keep building that, exploring new things. And very, very lucky. I have an awesome school community, as you know, and amazing part of the Etol family as well that helps provide things for my students. And yeah, very, very lucky that way. I get to keep growing it and challenging myself and learning.
Yeah, it's crazy the kids how much the kids change. And even the kind of kids in the club, they could be like these super irresponsible, crazy kids outside of the club, and then it's club hours, they're cooking, they're on the trips or whatever, and they're locked in. Like I've been talking in class, and we're trying to program plan for the grade 9 trip, and they're like, I don't know if they're really going to be paying attention. They might get bored. This might be above their level for certain things, and I'm like, no, you don't know these kids. These kids that are in this club, they're different. They're built different. They're going to be locked in. They're all right. It's crazy the community you can foster, especially just doing outdoor education. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think, and like yourself too, in the future of Etol, I think just kids need chances. They need to explore. And actually, really good talk I heard a few years ago, maybe last year, sorry, bit of a COVID blur, I guess, in life, but was that we have to, as teachers, we have to create boredom again. And it kind of has resonated with me a lot, actually, last little while, about how we need to teach these moments of kids just go explore and just do nothing, but just find themselves or find this, find that. And I think, again, that outdoor ed world, the whole pandemic, we foster it, for the community, the family feeling, that ability to have a solo time and be alone and in our own thoughts. Just that so many different factors and characteristics that the outdoor ed world and experiential ed world teaches us, I think, came to the surface during the pandemic. And many of us outdoor ed people were like, yeah, we got this. I'm used to kind of that bit of a survival kind of solo time, but then we earned for that community, that we need that bond because we're so used to having that campfire time like this and chatting and just whatever could be the past, future, just whatever that we do need. So it's, these kids they're the same as us. They want to feel that fit in, that community feeling, and sometimes sports or music and the fine arts don't quite work for them, or they're too competitive. Whereas an outdoor ed club, just a chance to use their hands or explore, is perfect for them.
Yeah. I got a question for you now. Seeing as you're outdoor education teacher, I know everyone I'm having on today is outdoor education teacher, so I'm hitting everyone with this question. Can you name me the 7 Leave No Trace principles?
Actually, well, it's kind of cool. Actually, right now my grade sevens are doing they do like a little guidebook, and they have them. They bring like little Lego characters. It's actually on our Instagram on the Massey ODL. There's a plug for you. But they do like little like a photo shoot and with their Lego characters, and they have to make like the travel camp durable services, respecting wildlife, be considerate of the visitors. They have to kind of do all these little photo shoots of all the different principles, and they just love it. We go outside, and actually my kids have been outside every single day that way. So what do you got? Leave what you find. Was that 4? I have no order in my mind right now. Dispose of campfires. Sorry. Dispose of waste properly. What's campfire one?
There's a campfire one.
There's a campfire
I
one
never
somewhere
remember
there.
the wording for that one.
Yeah.
Ever.
But yeah, so it's neat because they're actually doing these little booklets, and so
Yeah.
and then even the 8s and 9s, they bring in I'm very conscious about the L&T principles and just in any way we can. But yeah, it's actually the grade 7s are now we're doing some cool little things with it. So.
Have you seen there's like little hand movements and like a little skit you can do to remember the LNT
Yeah,
steps?
like the fire and then the walking.
It's awesome.
and-
I would never
I
be able
know.
to remember it without it. It's so good. I'll hit you with it right here. I don't know how I'm gonna hold this. Here, I'll just write it with this. This is what it is. Number one, and you write it down. How am I gonna do this? I'll just do it.
Sorry,
Like
plan
this.
ahead and prepares, write down.
Yeah, plan ahead and prepare.
Yeah.
Camp and travel on durable surfaces. Dispose of waste. That's the one. Yeah, dispose of waste properly. Whatever the wording for the fire one is. Stop. Leave what you find. Respect wildlife. Yeah, and then respect travelers or respect the other campers. And I'd never remember without that ever.
I think you guys did that last year at our skills camp. You had the kids all dancing and moving in it, and that's really cool.
Yeah, that's Paul. Paul taught me at Etol. He taught me that, and I'm never forgetting it again. Yeah. So over COVID, you were still because junior high never closed, right? So how did that affect you guys' delivery with that?
Yeah, I guess during the pandemic, in that first, I'll never forget because of that spring, that March, right, that when it all happened. Me and my students and I, we were basically 24 hours away from going snow caving on our big trip. The kids had their backpack, their gear. I remember that the day before, our basketball games got canceled because we weren't allowed to. Look back now, you kind of laugh a little bit, or you smile, but we weren't allowed to shake hands after the basketball game. So we could play basketball against all the whole game together, but then they're like, you cannot shake hands with them after the game because of this virus. We're like, and in my mind, I'm like, well, we can play the game, basketball, contact, but then we can't. Okay. So that happens, and then the very next day, my students, we were gearing up to go snow caving for that 4-day trip in the Columbia ice fields. And I phoned downtown for the CB and said, am I still good to go in this? Like, people are getting shut down here and there, but we're by ourselves, we're contained, our own bus. Can I go for this? It's kind of like one of the big last things, as for the grade 9s, it's a bit of a ceremony and a big kind of tradition for us.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, no, you're good to go. I'm like, sweet. So the kids get their gear, they go home. On that Saturday, the Saturday is when basically I got a phone call from the school board saying, no, you're done. You can't go anymore. Like, we're shutting down everything. And so I had to make these like 30 phone calls to the kids saying, sorry, like, we're done. And then on that Monday, the Monday basically, like, when school was shut down, we went on a line right after the spring break. It was kids came in with masks and they dropped their gear back off of me, took their empty lockers, and the rest of that year was actually online, right? I think for everyone in the world. Then coming the fall, we were kind of modified so we'd be in person, but we weren't allowed to do it was all outside all the time, which is funny. Like, I think outdoors became safe again, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
So my world, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be outside the whole day. I'm just going to capitalize on this, and because outside, you could take your masks off, and so my bike trips were awesome. We did skiing, that kind of stuff, and we just couldn't leave the city. We weren't allowed any bus trips, unfortunately. So, but I was active all the time, and I think that. I figured, if I can help show these kids that life can go on and that we can get outside and be active and it's safe, that hopefully maybe other teachers might get inspired or other people. And we kept going, doing our thing. And then eventually, kind of in the springtime of last year, they finally gave us the thumbs up for overnight trips. Because I know that we're talking with Ian Sherrington and some other people across Canada, like saying, hey, like even in BC, like, are you allowed to do overnight trips? Because as you know, as an out-dread person, as a Etoler, getting outside and getting like adventures are amazing, but those day 2, day 3, day 4 trips, you can't can't put into words what happens, right? You kind
Yeah.
of you break a little bit, you kind of glue back together, and so I'm like these kids need that experience. And do we have to do a COVID test before we leave? Do we do like how can we do this? But we need to somehow figure out how we can navigate this, right? And yeah, so we were given the green light, and we were given overnight, but we couldn't leave the province, which meant that my usual coast trip was put on pause. But yeah, we went to Nordeg, went to Barhead, in the province, had some amazing 9-10 day survival camps with kids. It was phenomenal, and yeah, we did our best, and I think that it really shows now the character of the kids going forward and how much they learned from it, how much they loved it, and the bonds they have, and they were so dying for. And so hungry for that trip, that experience, right? And it shows this year because they basically joined last year in September in this outdoor leadership club. I gave them a promise. I said I can't guarantee you anything because we're not allowed, but I will promise you that I'll work my hardest to get something for you if you stick it out. And they stayed the whole year basically, 8s and 9s, knowing that it could be nothing at the end of the year, no trips, or it could be maybe something, which is pretty cool. So. Then going for this year, I think I see that work ethic. I see that drive because they've come together, and it's kind of getting that community feeling again, as you know. And yeah, so I was very lucky during COVID and the pandemic that I had amazing administrators that were supportive and amazing parents that just were behind it and getting kids outside.
Yeah, the relationships you make with the people on the multi-days and like the feeling of being on a multi-day is so much different than anything you could learn in a classroom, any day hike, anything like that. It really is like unexplainable. It's super awesome. So if you had to pick one outdoor like sport or activity, what do you think you'd pick? And it's okay to say hiking.
One outdoor activity?
Yeah, like skiing, climbing, canoeing, kayaking, stuff like that.
Just sitting on a beach somewhere, especially when it's like minus 30. Oh man, one activity.
Let's say you could only do one for like forever. One for the rest of your life. What are you doing?
One forever. I think just hiking. I think just because the
Hiking.
weather and just enjoying the mountain peaks and taking my time, backpacks. But yeah, I do love skiing, snowboarding, snowshoeing, even biking, surfing, all those kind of things. But I think just left foot, right foot, just getting the mountains with a bag on your back. It's not what's the expression? It's not elegant. It's not pretty. It's not sexy backpacking. You just you do it and you get some pretty cool spots, and I definitely enjoy and it's kind of something cool about knowing that everything you need is on your backpack, is on your back. You're carrying it all, like whether you are flying international and traveling with backpacks or whether you are in the mountains somewhere. But I think it's just kind of cool. It's very humbling when you have nothing but the bag on you, and everything you need is right there.
Yeah, it's super awesome. Yeah, I think mine would be hiking, or actually, I think I'm just kidding. Mine might be skiing. I might be because sometimes you go hiking and it's like 35 degrees out, like 30 degrees out. Those really hot days, and you're sweaty and there's bugs everywhere and it's just nasty. But that never happens skiing because it doesn't matter how cold it gets. There's gear for it. You know what I mean? There's gear for it.
Yeah, but skiing is fun, but like days like today is like okay, it's not. I don't know. It's just almost like it's not quite worth it.
Yeah, that's true. And you can only do it for a part of the year. Hiking, you can do it full year round. So I guess that is an advantage to that. If you could add something, because right now, from my understanding, it's even the winter time. It's not super skiing focused. There's a little bit of cross in your program. There's a little bit of cross country skiing, right? But it's not like super ski focused, is it?
No, yeah, we have cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, avalanche training, avalanche kind of certifications, that kind of stuff, and then like some winter ecology with the grade 7/8s, I guess, the survival tips. That's kind of the main focus for the winter times, and usually because it's like that middle term, that seasonal. It could be. Yeah, like right now, like this week, I could definitely go skiing outside in the backfield, right? But there's so many winters here in Calgary where it's beautiful snow in Bright Creek in Canada, but the city is like bare.
Yeah.
But it's cool, so it's almost like, well, I could do this, but I can't do that. And so I think like things like orienteering, mapping, all that kind of stuff, and just being creative, but just getting kids exposed outside. And when you get snow days like this outside, and as soon as the temperature drops a little warmer, get those skis on and get the kids having fun and practicing. And I think I heard isn't Shaganappy and what else? They've been groomed already. So
Really?
yeah, so they're starting to be they're starting.
I didn't know that.
Starting to get set. Yeah,
That's kind of exciting. It was a long time without snow. This fall, hey, it was like when was it? It was like mid-October. We got that first snow. That was kind of wild. But at least there's snow now. We can go skiing and cross country skiing and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it was definitely a fall that I think people should have capitalized on because it was 24 degrees like mid-October. Like I was survival camping with my students October 17th there, and yeah, it was 25 degrees, and I think nighttime got to -3. Kids are like, I'm a little cold. I'm like, okay, I understand that. However, at our winter camp that you're helping run, in a month from now, it might not be -3. You might want to hope for -3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was definitely I think it was a fall as well that I think a lot of teachers, even non-phys ed, non-outdoor ed teachers, I think capitalized on in terms of going for a walk, finding a reading spot, a sit spot. And I hope that a lot of teachers were inspired by this weather, and could capitalize on that.
Yeah. Do you remember my winter skills when I went through it? That was an exciting trip.
That was a cold one.
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty cold. Yeah, me and my friends, we still talk about it. I still hang out with like Jenna and Nicole Bell, and yeah, we still from time to time, whenever it gets like really cold, it's like, yeah, it's cold, but you know what? It's not as cold as winter skills in grade 8 or grade 9. So like, it's fine.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, that year I remember actually even with Ian that year it's neat because now you have the different lens. Right now you're kind of helping lead, and it's like that was the day was actually pretty. I remember the day was actually not bad. But I remember dinner was okay, but then all of a sudden, like after dinner, it kind of just dropped. I remember that, and then you guys went to bed, and then I remember kind of dropping more. I was like, well, we're like, okay, do we wake them all up and then find some backup, or they're kind of in their shelters already, kind of, they're warmer actually in their shelters than they are to pull them out right now. But it's one of those years where it can drop at nighttime, and then I think, but at the same time, the shelter's there for backup for emergencies, the heaters and stuff, and so it's you learn a lot about yourself, and it's a test. And then I think also, but it makes the snow caving and stuff in the spring a lot easier for mentally because you're like, I got this, I can do this, and
but I distinctly, the snow caving, I know it wasn't that bad because I have a lot less memories from snow caving than winter skills. Winter skills is pretty clear in my mind what happened there. I really remember that was the worst cooking experience I've ever had in the backcountry because we had like this meat sauce. And it just would not thaw. Right. Like we had the meat sauce and the pasta, and the meat sauce was just sitting in boiling water, doing nothing, just sitting there. Yeah. And we were just like, hey, well, this has never happened before.
Well, I think until you've cooking in summertime, sure, but cooking in the wintertime, that's a whole different. That's a good challenge, I think, and I think it's it's pretty neat that way.
Yeah. We all good? Sure. Yeah, if you want. I can pull up a chair for you. What time is it?
It's 20 after 6.
Gnarly. Yeah, I'll grab you a chair. Are you staying? Or are you heading out?
I'll stay for a few minutes.
Okay, cool. You don't get quite as cool of a chair. Oh. It's a little bit lamer, but that's all right. Here. I'll scooch some room. And then, is this mic working? Does anyone know? Yep, awesome. There you go. Now we're all mic'd up.
Good day, Court.
It's good to see you.
Yeah. We were just chatting about my winter skills trip. Oh, how long ago was that? I would have been in what,
We
grade
don't
9?
need to age ourselves here.
Yeah, very long time ago. Actually, just kidding, not that long ago. And how cold it was, and how much of a difference the winter skills trip is compared to the snow caving trip, the second one, and how nice the snow caving one is.
Yeah, it's amazing some of the cold temperatures you have had that winter skills overnight, and how you go around and sort of beat the frost off the tarps, expecting the unexpected underneath the tarps, and there's this sort of like a bunch of snakes in hibernation underneath this thing, and they sort of crawl out one by one. It's amazing. It's probably a very formative moment for them.
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember waking up and the tarp is like right here, just ice, because I've been breathing on it all night. So it's just ice right there, and I'm like, oh, this isn't great. I don't want to move. I don't like that. But it was super fun, and like I was just I still talk about that all the time. It's a really cool trip because it's also so different than, even if you're like super outdoorsy, winter camping is probably something you've never done before in grade 9.
Well, it's neat because actually I think from our time together with the winter camp with the grade 9s and the Etol, I think it's almost made, Ian and the Mount Royal program realize hey, we might need to add a winter component to the Etol students, and I think that's kind of over the years evolved now to actually, I think, having a winter kind of course / experience just so the kids,
Yeah.
your university kids can have that experience.
That's actually a really good point, Court. Yeah, I mean, probably 15 years ago or more, when we started doing this with Burt East, we would have to coach our Etol students as to how to present this information because we didn't have that winter course. And so they may have come by it naturally in their own kind of experience, but yeah, I remember having that very conversation about 12 years ago with you, Court, and then that course came into being about 10 years ago, the winter travel course.
Well, we have two. We got the winter travel and the winter survival. And
That's right.
I've done the winter travel. I'm doing the winter survival this upcoming semester. That'll be interesting. It has been a while since I've been winter camping. So yeah.
Yeah, we used to actually manage to create a pathway for Etol students to get through the entire degree without stepping outside in winter. Like they'd have to duck and weave and they'd have to be super slithery, but they could do it. And we managed to plug that hole. Like,
That's good.
You're a Canadian or you're in Canada going to university.
Yeah.
You need to have some outdoor leadership skills for winter, which is like 9 months of the year.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, no, and I personally, I like camping in the winter more than camping in the summer. I love winter camping, like being outside in the winter. There's no bugs. It's not stupid hot, so you're not sweating. And one thing that like I think is, and there's no bears, which is cool. And one thing that is super interesting is how quiet it is. It is so, even when you're in the middle of nowhere in like June, there's still like noise. Like there's bugs, trees, wind, that kind of stuff. Winter, nothing. It is so quiet.
Yeah, and as I was walking in here from my car, I noticed it's pretty much a full moon tonight. And it was last night. Maybe it was last night. But winter camping with a full moon, oh my gosh. I mean, you don't even need a headlamp. It's absolutely just a glow. And it's pretty magical. And maybe you get some northern lights thrown in for good measure.
Well, yeah, when the kids, like a few weeks ago when we were at our first travel camp, the stars were just spectacular. And yeah, there was a bit of that shimmer in the sky. It was neat. And like I said, that peacefulness, that calmness is pretty cool to see how to have with the kids. And yeah, it's awesome. So.
Yeah. And one thing that I really like is the feeling of being all bundled up. And like it's cold outside, but I'm warm, so like it's fine. Even if it's like super blizzarding, hood up, and that sense of I'm fine. This is okay.
Well, we were laughing with some of the Etolers. Like I think they were at the camp, and like the fall, October, like the plus 20 was like the perfect outdoorsy kind of like gear head kind of weather because it was like plus 20, so you have like your shorts and that kind of stuff. But the nighttime is like, oh, bring out the Arc'teryx, the puffs, and it's like so you could like show off all your range of gear because it was like plus 20ish. Evening you go to like that plus 9, then minus 3 overnight, so you could show off like all your gear. And whereas usually wintertime, like you're wearing everything you have and that's it. So yeah.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going there?
Pretty good. How's it going with you?
Sorry to jump in.
It's all good. Yeah, the roads, hey.
Aren't they lovely? Is this live?
Yeah. Yep, we're live. Yeah, we were just chatting about winter camping and how awesome
It's
it
the
is.
best, right?
Yeah, very nice.
It's not for everyone.
Yeah. So I asked Rusty this, and I'm always curious. This is like my favorite question to ask people who are like super into the outdoors is, at what point did you decide to be like, yeah, like in the outdoors and like teaching in the outdoors, and just being in the outdoors in general? This is what I want to do, like professionally. At what point were you like, yeah, this is it?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. I decided that actually after my first overnight trip with students, and they came back totally jazzed. Like they were like turned on to the outdoors in a totally different way, and they were committed in a way that I wasn't expecting. They were just so intrigued and dialed in to everything that we did, and then asking good questions, and then it reflected in their attitudes and their behaviors. And when I saw that and we reflected after, I was like, this is super cool. Like, it was not expected. I did not expect that kind of change in kids. And for me, it took one overnight trip And I was like, wow. So
Yeah, no, it's really cool, and especially in like the junior high, like the grade 7 to grade 9, it's so formative. Like that's such a formative time for so many kids that like if they have a super positive experience with the outdoors at that age, that can set them on like an entirely different trajectory. Like even like me, like I was an outdoorsy kid before, and then I did the outdoor leadership program. I was like, oh yeah, no, this is something that's like gonna be a thing for me for a long time. I'm just enjoying it so much. It's super awesome. If there was something, so your outdoor program, I went through Rusty, so I kind of know what that's going on. But your outdoor program, what?
A little biased, right?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. But what do you do? Like, what's like the high points of your program?
So
About?
I'm at Calgary Academy now. Started off at Calgary Arts Academy. So when I was there at the Arts Academy, the pinnacle or capstone piece was hiking the Wanda Fuca. And that was with my grade 9s. Now that I'm at Calgary Academy and reimagining the whole program post-COVID, really trying to look at each year has a capstone event, like something that is driving the bus, so to speak.
Right.
So they see where we're headed and really trying to also invigorate the entire staff of the school into what can be when you take kids outside. And that's really, like right now, that is the energy that I'm putting into this, is getting people dialed into kids outside, experiencing learning outside. So it's not even outdoor ed, it is like immersive outdoor ed. Like really trying to take curriculum and learning curriculum through the outdoors. And so that's the big piece there. But each year, we're also reimagining right now that junior high piece that is really has never been existent, and really dialing into the junior high, because that is where the energy starts. And you can really change and format, like in a formative way, the way that people look at their future. If you get them in high school, you really got to get dialed in right away, and it might be too late, which is really sad. So that's the bear I'm fighting right now, is like, can we evolve and then look at leadership with the high school students for the junior high students? And that's really where I'm going. And their experiences then will be more the grade 11, 12s will be into this situation where they're going to be looking for transformative times, like 4, 5, 6 days out, either canoe trips or hiking trips, or a combination of the two, kayaking, whatever it is, based on what they're interested in. Because that's the nice thing about my school, is that I can pivot that way. Like I don't have to have one plan for everything. And so this year will be a canoe trip at the end of their year. The grade 10s will be a backpacking trip. That will be the end of their season with me, and then also like big winter experiences, and taking a page off of what Court does, like with his overnight trips with grade 9s, like the winter trips. He's been doing that for years and years and years, and it's super cool. And saying, look, we're going out. This is what we're doing. And it's a fact. Like, this is where we're going, and you're going to have to make these things work. So capstone events are huge, and they are amazing, but it takes time to have the culture piece also committed to that. And that's one of the things that, like, coming into a new environment is really challenging, to change culture. Yeah. And I imagine that was one of the things, I think you and I talked about that, was the evolution of culture when you assumed the role that you're in at Massey. For me, the same thing. At that evolution of culture, to go from what it was to what it is now, and seeing where it can go. And it's very wide open, which is very exciting.
And I think that, I think your first statement was lovely, the fact that, I think that sometimes we focus on, like you said, like the first thing you asked, back to both of us, was like keystone, like adventure, like, and it's like sometimes outdoor ed gets that spectrum right of like snow cavings, this, and it's like, well, actually, me going outside with my grade 7s, reading a story to them, or going for a walk is the same thing. And I think that sometimes as new or ed teachers or student teachers or even an experienced teacher throwing into a role is like, okay, I need to have this key stuff, I need to have this overnight, this big thing. If I don't, it's gonna fail. And actually, you don't, and it can shift. And I love the fact that you're working on culture, because I think that, like, how can we get? We're all here because and people here joining us, like, they have drink the Kool-Aid for outdoors. But how do we get the administrators, the other teachers in the school? Like, even like today, I saw some staff. We've had staff convinced, like, to go for a walk. Like, you have classes for 2 periods for humanities or science, math. Go for a 10-minute walk. Just take a break. Even just a walk around the block. I bet you, I'll bet money on it. I'll take care of you. I'll take my prep for you if they come back crazier. And then they're like, Rusty, it's working. I'm like, yeah, I know it's working. Like, just go for a little walk with them. And I think that we need to have that culture built in where it's not just a pursuit-based, but yeah, start with the academics and curriculum and just exploring outdoors, getting comfortable outside. Then you start throwing in, like, oh, we have a little canoeing coming up. We have this coming up. It's like, oh, really? It's like, then you got them. But if you don't have that first little ground level of everyone, of outdoors being safe and outdoors is common practice, then yeah, it could be tough.
Yeah. So with your guys' years of experience in your professional, what do you think the best tip you have for someone who's like going on a camping trip? Is there like a tip that you have in mind that you're like, this is my favorite? Because you know those like small little things, like a bowl of water in a water bottle, put it in a sock, sleep with it. Like those small things that like you wouldn't know if you'd never been camping before, but you do that and you're like, yep, that's the money shot. And as an example, I'll show you mine first. For people whose hands get cold, because everyone's hands get cold at some point, especially like this time of year. My favorite thing, it looks so goofy and it makes everyone so happy too, is what you got to stand up to do it, and you like lock your elbows. And yeah, the penguin, that, and it feels so good, and everyone's so shocked by that all the time. So what do you guys has got for that? Best tip.
Best tip for a new hiker. Oh man.
Backpacker or a hiker?
Anything, like kayaking, skiing, whatever like cool tip you got for going outside for people sitting down than people online. They're like, oh,
Cool
I
tip.
didn't know that. That's crazy.
I think, well, if it's a brand new person, I think just don't be one of those, like, go to the gift shop, buy the brand new $400 jacket, then it's like, then you're on a ski hill. Like, test your gear out, right? Even rub the dirt on it, make it look used a little bit. But yeah, I think testing your gear out first. Practice pays off, because so many people will buy the top end stuff, or they'll buy even like for nowadays, like a used pair of skis. They're like, sweet, I found some finally that are decent price, because COVID had prices going crazy, and they got some skis. Then they're like, Rusty, these skis are way too big for me. I'm like, yeah, they are, but they're like, yeah, but I have skis. I'm like, but they're not going to work for you. So I think just testing your, like, just practice out, test your gear out. That's my tip, I guess. Not as good as yours, but.
I think one of the biggest things is to anticipate a couple key things, but always, like, if you're going overnight, like, you've got to have that one piece of kit that is your comfort kit. Something that is going to bring you back home. For me, that's coffee. Like, without good coffee, I'm dead in the water.
Yeah.
Right? I can do a lot of different stuff, but if I don't start that day with a really good cup of coffee, and post day, a nice cup of coffee, it is like I'm one miserable guy.
Yeah.
And that's just me. Like, no matter what I'm doing, like on trip, that's what I'm doing, is I'm taking care of that one piece. Because then I can be walking around, I can be working with people, working with kids, whatever it is. That's the one piece for me. What is it for you? Like, dial into that one thing.
Yeah.
One thing that matters to you. Maybe it's, for some people, probably like my wife, she would bring a book, like a very specific book. She wants to sit and read, and, you know, at the end of the day, that's that reflective time for her, just to sit and read and just go, okay, I'm good, right? What else?
Well, for me, it's the thing I bring. It kind of sucks to pack out because there's like a lot of garbage and it's kind of nasty. But canned, like shellfish, like canned oysters, mussels, that kind of stuff, I'll just take a fork and I'll just eat it out of the tin. So good. It just like, it tastes so good. Like day 5, whatever, like later into the trip, and I'm tired and I'm run down, and then I get like, it's not fresh, but like it tastes not bland, I'll tell you that. So like, and it just turns upside down, especially like knowing I have it Like if it's like a long day or like a long walk, long paddle, I know that at snack time or at dinner time tonight, I can sit down next to the fire and have my tin of oysters.
Another like technical piece of kit that I can't live without is a pillow.
Oh yeah.
So an ultralight pillow, like the super tiny ones, they're like half the size of this microphone, and they blow up and they're perfect. They're just amazing. And then that allows you to have that good piece of slumber, and you wake up then the next day, and you're good to go.
Oh yeah.
Right?
My
So a
pillow,
good pillow.
not ultralight. My pillow is so big, but it's like it used to be my dad's, and now I've kind of adopted it a little bit. But it's got this like fleece, like felt siding to it, and it's just really, really comfortable. And it's so, like compared to like the new like inflatable ones, it's so big and so heavy, but I need to have it. It's so comfortable, it just changes everything.
Yeah, I think with gear it goes back to like you both hit it on the head, like the coffee, oysters, pillows, books. I think when I tell even my students, pack what you need to pack. Like, listen, if I'm going to pack an extra whole bunch of weight for my meals, I will do it because I want to have a good breaking bread ceremony with my leaders or coffee. But some kids, yeah, if you want to bring like a nice fancy pillow, go for it. Whatever makes you feel comfortable or more at home at your camp, then hey, that's your weight, you're carrying it. So go for it. If you want to sacrifice, for example, the debate of like camp booties, right? Camp shoes over just bring your hikers and just air them out. Like, if you have no space, what's going to be sacrificed? Do you want to take your pillow or your camp booties? And it's like, ooh, I don't know. Like, so I think, for your own gear, like just take what you got to take, right? Yeah.
Have you guys had any students that brought something just like why'd you bring that? Like, what are you doing? Like, pick one that's like why would you bring this on this like trip?
First trip ever. Now I was a student teacher, so it's not quickly like my fault, but we get to the first camp, we're at 3 Isle. We get to the point, sorry, and we get there, and the kids, it's dinner time. When we have a campfire, so myself and the teacher he's like, I'll do dinner for you, I'll take care of it. Cool. So we're having he brought some nice like steaks actually, and I was like, sweet, this is cool. These other kids look around and they're trying to cook meals. The boys group, always the boys group, don't know why, sometimes. In their bag, this one guy's like, I got some drinks, and then hold on, in his backpack, he pulls out this like 2 liter of Diet Coke. I was like, what? And then the other guy's like, don't worry, Rusty, we have more. We have food. I'm like, okay, where's the food? This guy pulls out literally a 10-pound bag of potatoes, and they've all been wrapped into tin foil. I was like, that's all they had. They had like a 2 liter of like Coke and like 10-pound bag of potatoes, tin foil wrapped. And I was like, this is your dinner? They're like, yes, this is healthy. I'm like, so since then, well, that was my practice. I was a student, but I do gear checks. But like, my goodness, like I've seen some very random things, but I'll never forget just the potatoes coming out of the bag.
You got a gooder?
Yeah, kind of like that. I've seen the big pop come out, or the multi pops. That one baffles me. I'm like, you're carrying that? That's a lot of weight. The big jar of peanut butter, glass
like
jar.
a glass jar?
Yeah, like a liter glass jar. You know how much that weighs? It's like 3 or 4 pounds, like minimum.
Yeah.
That one I was like, I just like completely baffled by that. The big external backpacks.
I know the big massive backpack.
The big, huge
Yeah.
external backpack. So like, my very first trip that I led, we were out.
All right, I'll even get the phone.
All right.
Tapping out.
All right.
Adios.
Give
It
the
was fun
floor to the
having
real
you.
guy. So.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
That shirt is awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, this is comfortable. I might
Yeah,
just
that's a
fall
good
asleep.
chair, eh? Yeah, I was thinking about having a nap.
Yeah.
At around like 2, I was like, maybe I'll just sit on the stage and have a nap. But
No, it's very nice. And Court made it nice and warm as well. It's
Yeah,
like
exactly. There
Getting
you
into
go.
a sleeping bag after you put the hot water bottle in.
yeah.
It's quite nice. Thanks, Court.
We were just talking about, do you have like one, like a story where like a kid brought something on a trip that you were like, why did you bring that? Like, what are you doing? Like, we were talking about like 2 liters of pops, bags of potatoes.
Yeah, I mean, there's the classic 4-liter jug of water,
Yeah.
like the literal milk jug.
Yeah.
When we were going to Point Campground on Kananaskis Lake. There's a lake. You're on the lake. There's water in the lake, and 4 liters of water came along. That's 4 kilograms, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And they struggled the whole way there. Good learning opportunity, right? You just you go with it. Consequences, super important.
Those are natural consequences.
Yeah.
Yes, sore back.
Your shoulders are very, very sore.
Yeah, I remember one of my buddies, he went through the program, the outdoor leadership program at Vincent Massey with me. So like, and this was like in high school, like he knew what he was doing. We've gone lots of backpacking trips before. And this man brought like almost a duvet. Like it was the biggest blanket I've ever seen. And it was like a trip in like June. I don't know why, but he was like, this is fun. I'm taking the weight. It took up like a quarter of his bag. No regrets. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little jealous when we were like around the campfire sitting in chairs. And he's got this like massive, nice blanket on. It was kind of nice.
I have a similar story from the Juan de Fuca Trail from, 20 years ago. Probably 20 years ago, right at the beginning of my career. And we're setting up camp on the first night, and I hear this whirr coming from one of the tents. I'm like, what's that? I know where your imagination is going. But when he comes out, I'm like, hey, what's going on? What's the whirring sound? He's like, oh, it's my mattress. I'm pumping it up. I'm like, oh. And of course, these days, you know, if you bring a little micro blow up thing, you know, it's kind of normal-ish because they make them so small. But this thing was huge. And the mattress, when he finished blowing it up, it was actually pushing on the sides of the tent so much that the whole tent started to sag in the middle. It was too big for his tent. It was like queen sized and you know, probably 30 centimeters thick. It was impressive.
He probably had a nice.
Where was that at?
That would have been at Mystic Beach when that happened.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's only 2K in.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Why not?
So he could have gone and brought it back to the car, but nope. He was happy with his good night's sleep.
So I quizzed Rusty on this, but he didn't have a live audience, and there's probably even more people watching online now. So you guys get to answer this under pressure. As outdoor leadership teachers, can you give me the 7 LNT principles?
We're gonna have to work together.
All right.
Bonus points for in order.
Plan ahead and prepare.
Yep.
Travel and camp on durable surfaces.
Yep.
Dispose of waste
Respect.
correctly.
Respect wildlife.
Respect wildlife. There's the
Respect
manage
other users.
fire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's 2 of them. You're missing one.
Minimize campfire impacts.
That's
is
right.
the exact-
Minimize
You're
campfire
short
impacts.
one.
What's that?
You're short one of them now.
5. Stop. Leave what you find.
Yep, that's what it is.
Nice work.
Except not in order, but you did get them. Except you've got the hand movements down. Do you know the little skit? That you
I
can
learned
do
that
with
from
the-
one of the Etol students last year.
Paul. That's Paul taught me that. That's how he taught me the LNT steps. Never forgot them since. I could never like remember them. Now I've got them down with the whole like write them down thing.
Probably the most memorable LNT skit I ever had was 2, maybe 3 years ago on one of my Foundations of Outdoor Leadership classes. And it was up at Lillian Lake, and it was really cold. And I had them all in small groups do a skit for each LNT principle. And the one group that had minimized campfire impacts, they actually did this incredible interpretive dance of fire. And the guy who was the fire, he had this incredible ability to kind of move. And he kind of was this snake-like human being with these people lying down below as logs. It was fantastic.
Yeah, that sounds like talent. Right
Yeah, it was
there.
creative, right?
Yeah.
And that's what, you know, creates those lasting memories.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, well, the hand signals, I literally learned that last year from Spencer and Meg,
Oh yeah.
Etol students. I was like, because, yeah, I was like everyone else, just struggled to remember all 7. And then they put it in this actions, and I'm like, oh, I'm a mildly kinesthetic learner, so.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to just remember like the words and especially the order and all that kind of stuff, just like straight out of memory without any help whatsoever, and that really helps a lot.
But you know, it's another thing about LNT. It's really interesting if you look at it from the perspective of privilege, and how it really comes from a very privileged perspective to think of it in terms of not leaving campfire impacts. You know, you have to have a stove that you purchased, that you have the means to purchase. You need to have a backpack that you had the means to put it in, and there's all sorts of things that are wrapped up into it. That when you think about it more from a indigenous ways of knowing and the way people used to live on the land, it's a slight different take. It's a very kind of westernized take on this sort of sustainability.
Yeah, and it's good, right? Like it's a good practice to teach, but I think it also still just it reinforces this idea of we're still separate from the land. Like we're not we're not a part of it. We're still kind of above it. Like we're taking care of it instead of this symbiotic relationship where we exist with it, around it, that kind of stuff. We're still viewed as separate.
Yeah, it makes me think of a museum.
Yeah.
It's it's treating the world as a museum that you can look at from behind bulletproof glass in a temperature-controlled environment on the other side, and that's the interaction, is just look at it, but you can't touch. And when you start to look at some of, I won't call it backlash, but it's a bit of a counter look at it. Is some of these forest schools that are popping up now, and outdoor daycares and stuff, allowing the kids to get out and play in the outdoors, and take branches off trees and build stuff out of them, and make lean-tos, and all that kind of stuff. And that's an important part of development as well. And so how do you balance those two things? It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, that's exactly it, is the balance that we need to strike between exploring and entering and also respecting, right? And yeah, the forest schools are a really good example of that, is just where does that line cross to where it's too much, and where is it just the right balance? And we'll face that as these types of institutions become more and more popular. More and more people are entering into the world right now, as we've seen with COVID. Holy cow, it's a lot different now than it was even 5-10 years ago. And so we modeling that and respecting that piece. I like your idea that you're in a way looking at a museum wall. It's hey, I can look and see and touch, or I can't. Well, it depends on touching, depends on which museum you're in.
Yeah, no, it is interesting how even people who are just super into it, super the Etolers, people who live in this kind of environment still frequently can see it as nature as this thing that we should take care of, but separately, at an arm's length kind of a thing. And that the philosophy behind it and how it's shifted is kind of interesting. It's really hard to change that. It's not easy, because even if you as a teacher kind of change how you teach it, they'll go get taught by someone else something completely different.
Yeah, I think I surprised myself the other day. I was teaching my class, my first year class, and we were talking about collective impact, and how one person doing something, whatever. 10 people doing something, 1,000 people doing something. Okay, now you're starting to get an impact. And I just kind of off the top of my head, I was like, when I was born, there was only about 4 billion people on the planet, and now there's 8.
Yeah.
So in my lifetime, in our lifetimes, not that we're dating ourselves,
no,
the population of the planet has doubled. And so when you talk about collective impact on a small scale or on a large scale, I mean it baffles the mind, and it's hard to really reconcile that.
Yeah. So to shift gears a little bit, is this the best film night ever?
Say again?
Is this the best film night?
Well, it hasn't happened yet, so
that is true.
But so far it's the best dressed film night. I'll tell you.
You're
right
looking
now.
sharp. You're really looking sharp there.
Well,
Yeah, you've got quite the shirt on. I like it.
do you think I'll slip under the radar?
No, I don't know about that.
Am I leaving no trace? Am I respecting other people's experience,
No,
their
but
visual aesthetic?
If you get lost, we'll be able to find you easy.
There you go. Yeah, it's very good for rescue.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. Guide jackets are always orange, so there you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How are we doing
Yeah.
for time?
Sorry?
How are we doing for time?
We're doing good. I think we got like 5 minutes ish.
Okay.
I'm hoping that someone's just gonna pull us up here and give us a little. You guys
Yeah.
have to stop talking now because I'm just gonna keep talking until they kick us
So,
out.
so I have to ask, have you been calling it Banter with Berg?
I have been. We made a post on Instagram. Kaylin and Jared came
wonderful.
in. Banter with Berg. That's what we officially named it.
Fantastic.
That.
I really think this should become like a standing set. And you should actually start a podcast.
Yeah.
And just
well,
have it out
I was
there.
even thinking we upload this to YouTube, and then like something like this could happen outside of film night as well.
Yeah.
Just like informative little things and kind of building that community that we've been talking about and kind of shifting awareness and culture. And I think talking about certain things could be really, really interesting. And also, one thing that I really wanted to, and the reason why I chose the people who I chose to come on, is make people more aware of these opportunities, of these clubs, of these programs, both in school, and then we didn't really talk about it as much, but like, that's all right, outside of school. It's one of the things that I talked with Sarah Brown about, that like, one thing that even in Etol that doesn't really get taught up, or that doesn't really get taught at all, we don't do many collaborations, is clubs and opportunities for people to go, who don't normally do these kind of things, to go find people who want to go do these things with them. And so that they can get the opportunity to go do that outside. And educating people that like, there's ways for you to do this. And I think that's the biggest thing, is awareness.
I agree with that, because just seeing, like, becomes a series of doors then, that people are like, I don't know that I can go knock on that door.
Yeah.
I don't know how to slide the door. I don't know how to open the door, whatever it is. And more awareness and opportunities for people to come in will give people that avenue, because there are a lot of like-minded people around that are like, hey, these are the things I'm doing. Oh, you're doing that too? Cool, we can do this together. Because it's more fun when you do it together,
Yeah.
right? And to be able to see those opportunities,
Okay.
I think is really important.
Yeah. I think that was just a time warning. I feel like we're fine.
Have we been given the hook?
I think that was like a 3-minute
Okay.
get out in 3 minutes kind of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I mean, you're absolutely right. Elitism is so fatal for people's ability to think that they can enter into something new, something that is outside of their normal kind of way of experiencing. And yeah, if you can somehow make it more equitable, more inviting, and give people that, like you said, the door, open it a crack, but fling it wide open.
Yeah.
And but give them the skills that they can actually succeed as well. Like that, and that's, one of the issues that's come up in parks and natural areas in the last 3 or 4 years, especially over the pandemic, that you have all these people getting out because that was the safest and easiest and
Yeah.
best place to be. And unfortunately, the number of rescues, the number of accidents and incidents went up
Yeah.
exponentially, really. And so how do you, open up, but also open up education as well at the same time, which I think is, one of the reasons why we're here.
Yeah, well, it leads into mentorship, like having a venue too where you can see the right kind of mentorship, because without that, we're seeing people go out into the outdoors now that they're like, oh yeah, that's the Instagram story I see. Oh, I'm gonna go do that too.
Yeah.
And they don't realize the volume of work that goes into making those safe experiences for so many people.
Yeah.
Going and summiting a mountain. Oh, wow, really? Which one did you do? Because some are okay, some are really like borderline, and some are downright sketchy.
Yeah.
And to get that Instagram photo, that seems to be, in my way of thinking, that seems to be driving so much of what's happening now. Just people getting out, they're like, I gotta get that photo, I gotta get that photo. That's okay, fair enough, but there's ways of doing it safely.
Yeah.
And in a way that you're all coming home all in one piece, That's my big worry too with all these numbers.
Yeah.
So Ian, have you gotten a sneak peek at any of the films? Have you gotten a sneak peek at any of the films? You get
I've seen the starts of a few of them.
Oh yeah?
And I mean, I'm not going to give anything away, but they are incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I heard.
the quality this year is sky high. the filmmakers have gone above and beyond. That's for sure. And we had a larger number of submissions than we could use, which means that we were able to really pick and choose. And yeah, the cream of the crop for sure. I'm looking forward to it.
I heard that, not to like shade anyone too directly or indirectly, but I heard that this year, compared to the last couple of years, is like really, really nice videos.
Nice. Well, time will tell.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
I think time is up for us.
Thank you so much for
at this
having
current moment. No problem. And then for the people online, I'm going to be back and the intermission to chat more in case you're going to miss me. Thank you guys.
This mic? Hello, hello. Whew, that's loud. Is anyone here called Mike? We have a mic here? Hey, we got one. Okay, I see one. Concludes the mic check.
If everyone can please find their seats, the show's about to begin.
We can give him a... Yeah, we can let him sit. Yeah. So I feel like... yeah, we can put those away. That one works too, eh? Oh.
It's quite hard.
Yeah.
Well, shall we?
Yeah. All right, you're saying hello and welcome? Or? Give it a go. Oh, nice. You got dimming lights. That's good.
Hello and welcome to the 22nd annual Etol Film Night.
We have an action-packed evening for you folks. My name is Tegan,
My name is Justin.
and we are just so excited to show you these films and to put on this night for you. So like I said, I'm Tegan. I'm in my 4th year, and sort of my most precious experience in this program has been the Purcell's backpacking expedition. Reason I'm in this program is it all kind of just boils down to the fact that I'm not very good at math. Turns out I'm not the only Etol student who's really bad at math. It's sort of a prereq. Last year, I won the Esker with my film Windward, and this year I do have a film in, but I don't think I'm going to win with the rest of the films in here. We have a spectacular night for you.
And my name is Justin Clark. I'm a 4th year Etol student as well, and my degree highlight was either going backpacking and co-guiding the men's volleyball backpacking trip, or the Purcell expedition that I did 2 summers ago. A lot of people ask me why I'm an Etol, and if I'm being real with you guys, when I graduated high school, I was quite lost. I went to my academic advisor and I sat down and I said, I just don't know what to do with my future. And sure enough, she put me down and I took about a 5-minute aptitude test, and it spit out 2 jobs I'd be really good at. It told me I could be a jockey or a gigolo, and after a bit of research, I found out I'm too big for one and too small for the other, so I ended up applying to Etol, and here I am today.
Now, before we get going, a little bit of housekeeping. If you could turn your phones onto silent, that would be just excellent. Also, speaking of silent, we thought we'd mention, in case anyone didn't know, there is a silent auction going on tonight. There's 50-50 draw prizes, and there's also a photo competition. There's merch for sale. 50-50 and draw prizes are 2 separate things. So all kinds of good stuff going on in the lobby. Make sure you hit that up at intermission.
Tonight will be broken into 2 different sections, separated by a 25-minute intermission. First, we have a section of films that are up to be voted on as Esker winners. After that, we'll move into some of our feature films. These are really cool films that we want you to see and enjoy, but they won't be eligible to be voted on. Before we go any farther, I want to interrupt everyone. I want to thank the Etol 4270 class for all the hard work, dedication, and commitment they have done to make this event what it is today. Can we please get a large round of applause for them? Ecotourism and outdoor leadership, as we all call it, Etol, is a major in the Health and Physical Education Department here at Mount Royal University. This degree is very different compared to some other traditional degrees where you'd walk away with a job title like a nurse, an accountant, or maybe an athletic therapist.
So, what kind of jobs do we walk away with? Etol alumni have so many different jobs because there's so many directions that you could go with our program. So we have alumni that are heli ski guides, wildlife conservationists, business owners, park rangers and interpreters, and even adventure filmmakers.
What you're at tonight is a celebration of Etol and the community we're part of. Etol Film Night has been a yearly tradition and was even presented in an online form during COVID-19. This year, we're proud to pronounce that we have a dual viewing platform with over 50 streams going out tonight. We welcome all of those who are here for their first time. First times are incredibly special.
You never forget your first time. As outdoors, yep. So what are we playing for? Why do people, why do they submit films? Well, it's for this thing, right here. This is the Esker. It is the crown jewel of the Etol program. It is it's very highly regarded. It's made of plywood and rocks and glue. But it is actually very nicely decorated. So this is what the votes go towards, is who's going to win the Esker. And Esker is a glacier formation. It also sounds a lot like Oscar, which is why we have it.
Before we go any farther, we'll show our first film of the night that hopefully gives you a better feel for Etol and the community we're part of. Please sit back and enjoy.
So I have some friends here who are in engineering, and I hope that made them jealous. So, as outdoors people, our community is really lucky to have a really great connection to the land. Within this, it's really important for us to understand the historical and cultural context of the spaces that we enjoy.
Being a land-based program, it's very important to acknowledge and recognize the ancestral lands upon we both travel and learn. Ecotourism and outdoor leadership is so much more than sustainable development and outdoor recreation. We must strive to understand and recognize the importance of the lands that we recreate and play on. Please enjoy this next video as our formal land acknowledgement.
What is land acknowledgement?
Those of us that are continuing our oral history are blessed. What we shared, that was told from way back.
We were part of the ecosystem. We were not masters of it.
You know, after we grow up from our biological mothers, the earth becomes our caregiver. Everything that we need is there.
We were raised to believe that everything has a spirit and that everything around us is alive and has a purpose.
The spirit of the land and our spirit. You can't separate land and people.
In Treaty 7 territory, I'm accepted, I'm something, and I'm with my people.
We honor our ancestors by acknowledging Treaty 7 territory. We acknowledge the Treaty 7 nations, the Piikani First Nation, the Siksika First Nation, the Kainai First Nation, the Stoney Nakoda First Nations, and the Tsuut'ina First Nation. We acknowledge the ancestral territory of the Siksikaitsitapi, the Blackfoot Confederacy, and the home of Métis Region number 3.
Since our last film night, the Etol community suffered a loss. We want to give our deepest condolences to the friends, family, and students who knew Will Bitzel. He was a first-year Etol student who passed away this spring due to complications with a brain tumor. This is a great reminder to live life to your fullest, very much how Will approached every day. The Etol community is always there for you. It is one of love, support, and friendship, and we will always persevere through tough times.
On a brighter note, Etol alumni Juan Pablo won the last season of the TV show Alone, lasting 78 days in the wilds of northern Labrador by himself, which is nuts. Yeah. In an interview, he attributed some of his success to Etol. One of our courses is actually a wilderness survival course where students spend a night alone with nothing except what they would bring on a day trip. So here we have a clip from Juan Pablo's time on Alone.
Look at that trash. Lots of cans. With this, I'm gonna be able to make like a chimney and maybe a stove. In survival situations, I improvise a lot. One done, lots to go. I wait to see what the land has to offer, and I try to adapt. I basically just go with the flow and go with my intuition. That gets the job done. This is where the wood will be burning. This is the oxygen intake, and this is the connector for the chimney. So here's the assemble. Looks pretty funny. All right, I need to fireproof my stovepipe. I brought these gaiters, and the bottom part is a fire-resistant material. So I'm gonna sew them together so that I can surround my chimney To me, when you have good boots, you don't need gaiters. So that's an item that I could sacrifice. As my needle, what I'm gonna use is a piece of wire, and I'm going to bend it like that. For thread, I'm gonna use paracord. I love stoves. To me, they're so interesting, how they're designed and the way they work. So I'm so excited to get this working in my shelter. Okay, I finished sewing, and the stovepipe goes in. Looks good from here. Now I'm going to surround the whole skeleton with clay. It's gonna provide some thermal mass, and it's gonna seal all the holes. Most of my life, I have not cared about money. Water, shelter, food, those are my priorities. If I have that, I'm okay. But reality is that for me to marry and to start a family, I feel that I need financial stability. So it would be nice to win and have that security. So let's see what I did today. I've set up the foundation around the stove. I also did the door. And that's the inside. This is my base for my pot. Not bad, eh?
So, you may not know, but sitting among you are some incredible athletes. We have 2 members of the Etol community who will be traveling to Europe this winter to represent Team Canada and wear the maple leaf with pride. Congratulations to Jenna Sherrington on recently being selected to on the National World Cup team. We wanted to wish her and her team very good luck as she competes in biathlon. Sorry about that.
We also want to wish Jared Schmidt and his team good luck in his post-Olympic World Cup year. If you guys have a chance, make sure you stop by and take a look at his fancy new tattoo. We're all cheering for you back home. Have a healthy and safe season. Go Canada. Last but not least, we have a few members of MRU Cougar athletes in the building, including some of the men's volleyball team. We are willing to only take 50% of your team's success after our guiding extravaganza this season. Have a great season, and we'll be cheering very loud for you at all your home games.
And now it's time for the main event. We have 6 short films eligible for the Esker Award. Please take note of your favorites and remember to vote during intermission.
This next film is called Booming, and it was filmed in Crow's Nest Pass, Alberta. This short film shows and follows friends challenging themselves to an ice climb called Booming Ice Chasm. This short film discusses the duality of what it means to be an outdoor recreationalist. As you follow along, you'll see the challenges that we had to overcome and what some might consider as failures and others might see as successes. Ice climbing the deepest cave in North America has its struggles, and this film highlights our motivations to go do it. Please sit down and enjoy this taste with fear, doubt, and fulfillment of these young guns. I hold this pretty close to my heart, as this is me and my friend's personal submission for the event. Part of being in the mountains is confronting the uncomfortable. It's cold, desolate, can be lonely, and normally includes the highest highs and lowest lows. It's a unique relationship you form with your partners in these environments. It has to be the utmost trust and respect for each other, yet willing to pick them up when they're down and call them out when they're wrong.
Got the milk for it right here.
As we venture farther and tackle larger objectives, it becomes hard to define success. Does success have to include a summit? Does it have to be flawless with no mistakes? Does it have to be the deepest snow or the hardest lead of the season? Or can it simply just be getting home with a smile on your face? I'll let you decide if today was a success or not. Ice climbing might be one of the most miserable and brutal forms of climbing. Frozen hands, numb toes, limited protection, and a never-ending feeling of fear overwhelm your body. It's typical to get a feeling called the screaming barfies, and that's about as enjoyable as it sounds. Only a particular type of person willingly subjects themselves to this level of suffering. Caving, on the other hand, might be viewed as the scariest, most unforgiving activity. It goes against everything we know. To descend into dark, tight spaces where retreat can be difficult, if not impossible, isn't something highly sought after. When you add these two sports together, you get the opposite of today's culture. It's not a safe space, it's not comfortable, and the mountains don't care how you feel. There's no other escape other than going to war and coming out on top. This fall, that's exactly what we did. Discovered in 2005 and explored for the first time in 2008, Booming Ice Chasm is located in Crow's Nest Pass, Alberta, and is currently known as the largest ice cave in North America and Canada's second deepest shaft. With a depth of 180 meters, or 590 feet, and 961 meters, or 3,155 feet in length, this is no place to mess around. Rescue is nearly impossible, a retreat is non-existent, and mistakes could be catastrophic. This trip started with weeks of research and a joking idea we should go climb Booming. The location is a secret. With everyone who knows it, signs are sole a way to keep it hidden. The entrance to the cave is concealed behind a rocky ledge and regarded as nearly impossible to find. Yet, it slowly turned into a plan with 4 young guns ready to light their calves on fire climbing early season ice. An early morning rough road and shirtless hike in, and then some rather exposed solo scrambling placed us into the mouth of this unforgiving hole. Well, this might not be one of the great success films you're watching right now, but it is one of us laying siege down the cave, or at least trying to. But what's going on, Kalen? Why are we stopping?
So we are 120 meters into this ice cave. 2 rappels. We have 2 sets of rope, so yeah, we're being quick and efficient. 2 rappels going at once. And the top set of ropes, as we were pulling them, they got stuck in the mouth of the cave.
They seem to be welded there.
Completely stuck. So we just got a rope, 2 ropes, hanging out in the middle of this ice cave, unusable. And here are 4 guys with
1 rope and 1 tag line.
Yeah, so 1 rope, essentially. And yeah, we're stoked.
The name Booming Ice comes from the horde you encounter when inside. The nature of the cave makes communication difficult, falling rock and ice terrifying, and every swing of an ice axe sounds like a gunshot blasting off beside you. Pure darkness surrounds you, and a looming unknown below you. It's hard to explain my feelings about this place. Although it's unworldly and bizarre, it was unique and beautiful in every form. Booming has every bit of respect for me, and once again, I'm humbled by the mountains and how we can't plan for every small thing. Some days, getting home is the success.
adjusted. Did you know that booming ice chasm is speculated to be the source of new antibiotics? Scientists believe that the microorganisms that grow there are very specialized in their evolution, having grown up in such a inhospitable environment. It's kind of neat.
Thank you to Team No Team for going in there and getting after it with me.
So, our next film is based on Lorianne's bike trip from Calgary to Breckenridge, Colorado, this past summer. A rookie to bikepacking, Lorianne watched way too many YouTube videos than she cares to admit in order to prepare for her adventure. Having never done a bike trip longer than 5 days and her bike fully loaded, Lorianne set out on her wild bike trip, following the motto, eat, sleep, ride. Here's Lorianne's films, Better by Bike.
This, my friends, is Fleecer Ridge. It's very steep. I'll turn the camera around so you can see how steep it is. Maybe that doesn't really give a sense. It's crazy. Definitely walking down. Did go ass over tea kettle already, over my handlebars, so not taking any more chances. Super steep now. It wasn't even this steep when I went over my handlebars. Alright, I feel okay. Everything's good. Nothing broken. Ciao. I told someone at a bike shop that I decided to do the Great Divide mountain bike route because I wanted to find out if I would like bikepacking. He looked at me, dead serious, and replied, "Most people go out on a few weekend trips if they want to find out whether they like bikepacking, not one that's 4,500 kilometers." Well, I can assure you, I am not most people, and hence, on June 22nd, 2022, I set out on what my son called my psychotic bike trip. This journey was full of ups and downs, and it started with... Right now, climbing the hill that never ends. And then... Hear that sound? It's raining. Well, Mother Nature did plenty to discourage me in the first few days of my trip. Rain, strong winds pushing me off the shoulder onto the highway. I persevered, taking one pedal stroke at a time and putting one foot in front of the other, moving forward, slowly but surely. Here we are. We're coming into Sparwood. Biggest dump truck in the world on the head on the right. Woo! When I finally get on the trail in Fernie, I end up on a washed out road. But hey, I'm on a bike. I can cross that. So I decide to follow the narrow path across and do my best not to look down. I roll up to the border crossing at Roosevelt on the 7th day of my journey, excited to begin Montana, which is apparently the hardest section of the Great Divide mountain bike route. What did Montana have in store for me? Well... Okay, can you stop being curious and hop back in the woods, Bear? Hey, buddy, yeah, that's it. Go into the bushes.
You're alone?
Yeah.
That's not smart, you know. Somebody else has probably told you that.
Oh yeah. I got my tracker here.
You got your gun?
I got bear spray, no gun. 3.5K to go. Woo! Yeah, definitely sucking wind. It's a tough climb. Tough climb today, and my legs are really tired. They're ready for a rest. So maybe tomorrow will be a rest day. We'll see. But sucking wind, but making our way up. Almost there. After 23 days and 1,200 kilometers, I am finally leaving Montana. The burn in my legs is now gone, but it plagued me for weeks. Another reminder that perhaps I should have worked out much more before I left Calgary. With the Idaho sign in view, I break down in tears, ecstatic, speechless, in disbelief. Montana pushed me to my limits, tested my resiliency, and knocked me down several times, but it also made me stronger. Here's me and my cow friends. Idaho, only 128 kilometers. I'm in and out of it in a blink of an eye. Next up, Wyoming. And what did it have in store for me? Well... Alright, here's me with the Grand Tetons. Woo! See them back there? Guess it's hard to tell. I'm climbing. Got about a 10K climb. Yay! So if you look really closely on the ridge over there, you can see 3 grizzly bears, mama and 2 cubs. This is a much better way to see grizzly bears than meeting them on the trail. My biggest worry for this ride was traversing the Great Basin. With water sources only every 90 kilometers, I worried about how I would make it across. This section of the ride has me paddling 90 kilometers a day and carrying an extra 4 liters of water. In the end, this was my favorite section. While there is a whole lot of nothing except cows, pronghorns, and wild horses, there is a beauty to the landscape that I cannot explain, and I love the undulating road. I leave Wyoming stoked that I did 800 kilometers in 13 days. Next up, Colorado. And what does it have in store for me? Well... Here we go, last big climb, Ute Pass. Yay! Thunder shower behind me, trying to outrun it. See what happens. Did not beat the storm. Hanging out under a tree. Here's the Dillon Reservoir. The last day on the ride. It's pretty emotional today. We got about 30 kilometers to get to Breckenridge, and then I'm going to wrap it up because I can't make it all the way to Antelope Wells in the time I have, so I'm going to have to come back and finish another time. It's been great. The scenery's been amazing. Yeah, what a ride. It's been a great summer. So you're probably wondering, do I like bike packing after traveling 2,843 kilometers and only spending 10 days indoors over 2 months? The answer is yes. I absolutely love bike packing and can't wait to get back out there and explore with my bike some more.
That wasn't our fault this time. We didn't do that.
Lorianne, what an amazing trip. Congratulations on your massive success. In that video, it looked like you had pretty good weather, and that's good considering Alberta was the coldest place on Earth yesterday. Our next film is by Fisher Stevenson. Birds are something of all ages, genders, and cultures can enjoy, but with a silver lining. 142 bird names have names of in just past. 142 birds in North America are named after people that committed genocide on minorities, fought to preserve the institution of slavery, and countless other issues. In a culture that claims to value equality, we seem to ignore the fact that for over 142 years, we've continued to honor these people's names. Now presenting Fisher's film, 142.
Let me ask you a question. What things on this earth do humans own? An idea? Maybe an invention? What about living things like plants, animals, birds? Humans often feel like we have dominance over other animals, but in a stare down with a moose, who's really in control? Just because someone, so-called, discovered it, does that mean that they own it? An eponym is when something is named after a human because of their involvement in its discovery or just simply to honor that person. Eponyms are often opposed to descriptive names, names that describe physical features such as color, bill shape, size, sometimes its nesting location, or even based off of the call that they make.
I think eponyms are an interesting relic, that naming birds after people is great for when you're trying to get money to go and research things and find new species or explore new areas. The problem with that obviously comes down to not really telling you anything about the individual species whatsoever. The indigenous people of that area probably had names for these species to begin with, which are probably better describing what they do or what they are, or at least what they're known for culturally.
If we look at many of the people that these birds are named after, we realize that they were actually terrible people. These are people that committed genocide on indigenous communities. Many were naturalists that would try to obtain the skulls of minorities by horrific means to prove on a medical level that they are inferior to white people.
Eponyms and honorific bird names, those actually present barriers to diversity and inclusion. We need to take action to address this through renaming. It's really a simple step, but it achieves a lot.
I think we should remove the people that have their Latin names, or their names are associated with plant names or bird names, and go back to maybe what the first people have called them, because why use Latin when there's Blackfoot names or Cree names that could adequately describe the bird, or so be incorporated into books.
What a shame that some of these birds, have that like Townsend's warbler, right? What a bummer for Townsend's warbler that they have to get associated with this not very nice person in history.
I think what it does to take down those monuments, to remove the eponyms, is to recognize that so-called dominant cultural experience is not universal, and in fact it can and has been very harmful to other parts of our society, and we want to be inclusive. I don't think there's anybody who doesn't care about their brothers and sisters on this planet.
A lot of those eponyms that just are given to people who in one form or another were involved in either the slave trade or taking land from indigenous peoples back in the 1800s or other things that just are unacceptable now. So
all the guidebooks have the old names, and things will have to be updated. I think that's a minor concern, to be honest, because we're changing birds' names relatively regularly anyways. When you take off people's names, then you don't have to worry about what kind of person this was, and does this person still deserve to be honored by a bird's name. If we were going to use a name that you just had to memorize, not because it looks like anything on the bird, then I would be happier to go with an indigenous name, a First Peoples name.
Being a birder, I like to get out on the land, but I don't go beyond my reserve boundaries. For me to go out on a back road, I could be risking my life, like Colt and Bushy, right? They ran out of gas and farmer shot him in the back of the head, right? So
bird names should reflect inclusivity, right, and be relatable to all members of society. Once you sort of explain to someone why that name needed to be removed, I've had basically no pushback. A person like that who did so many awful things in his life, you can't name anything after that person going forward. Our society has changed. I sort of refuse to call this cancel culture at all. It's not cancel culture. It's actually correcting an injustice. And to be honest, I'm sort of over having birds named after people, right? They're just boring, right? Let's call it what it is.
Kinda cold, but you know you've got a hand to hold. Come along now and play. What a wonderful day. Your white cheeks are so hard to resist. Those red lips are longing for a kiss. Come along now.
You know, Tegan, that film got me thinking. Did you know the difference between cliff swallows and bank swallows?
Is it the color?
No, it's the same color.
Is it the genetics?
No, same genetics. Does anyone out there know? Nope. No, that's wrong. Very wrong.
Do tell us.
It's actually bank swallows just better with its money.
Okay, so this next film follows Kellen to the Arctic region of Banks Island. This unique area contains critical habitats for a variety of plants and animals. The film shows the research findings from the monitoring of the Arctic landscapes using drone technology. The film showcases the effects of a warming climate on the Arctic region. Now presenting Kellen's film, High Arctic.
After testing out our bug shirts, which are not seen in the previous clips, the team headed to the airport where we flew into the study area on Banks Island. As you can kind of see here, the plane that flew us in has special tundra tires, which are oversized balloons that allow it to land on rough terrain. The plane flew us 3 hours from an airport in Inuvik to the base camp location on Banks Island, within Olivik National Park. Olivik National Park represents a significant piece of Inuvialuit history. The name Olivik is Inuvialuktun for a place where people travel. It is the site where the Thule people occupied and lived during the years 1000 to 1450 AD. These people would eventually move south to inhabit the southern parts of the island and the coast of Alaska, stretching across the Yukon and the Northwest Territories. The descendants of the Thule people are now called the Inuvialuit. Banks Island in Olivec National Park contains critical habitat for a variety of plants, the breeding grounds for many bird species, habitat for prairie caribou, Arctic wolf, and has one of the largest muskoxen populations on the planet. Base Camp, or Green Cabin, is a green plywood structure built to act as refuge for researchers in case of storms, a place to store equipment, and where we set up our tents. Study sites on the island were accessed from Base Camp via helicopter. One of the many tasks we set out to accomplish while on the island was to monitor 7 different slumping sites. These sites are monitored every year by flying drones over them, using LiDAR technology to create 3D maps of the thaw. In order to accurately create the model with correct spatial information, the EB needs 3 points of reference. We would walk around the slumps, placing 3 white high-tech Rona bucket lids around the perimeter of the slump for the drone to use as reference. Using survey equipment, the exact location, elevation, and position of these circles are calculated and bounced to the drone, which then triangulates its position and compares the points of reference to its satellite information, allowing for accurate up to the millimeter scanning. One thing that is hard to describe and get across with words is just how eerie it was to see this. This was probably the first time I've ever seen climate change manifest itself in front of my eyes so obviously. Being able to get a bird's eye view and to see how the land is slowly sinking into itself is astonishing. There's no denying that the change is radical. Slumps like these are appearing more and more frequently throughout the landscape every year. Anywhere that has permafrost is vulnerable to this type of disturbance. On Banks Island alone, the amount of slumps has risen from 63 to 4,077 in the last 30 years. The headwalls on some of the slumps were over 15 feet tall, and you could see exposed ice thawing away. The crazy part is that most of that ice is over 10,000 years old. I think talking about climate change can be hard to visualize for a lot of people, including myself, but actually being able to see right in front of your own eyes what things like warmer, longer summers and late season rainfalls is actually doing is very profound. This is something that isn't happening slowly, gradually over time, where you have to wait years to witness change. Multiple feet can melt back per day, and it's happening right now.
Translational and retrogressive, if that's possible. Status is active. Size is medium, and there's only 1. Sharp height less than 5. Connectivity 0. Geomorphology fluvial. Ground ice not visible. Becoming a thaw slump.
These captivating shapes are called ground polygons. They are formed over many years of repeated freezing and thawing of surface moisture during the spring and fall. In addition to being rather beautiful, recording features like this along with other topographic information allows researchers to track how the landscape changes over time. While we were flying around, we also were to make note of the species and number of individuals for any wildlife seen from above. By repeating these flights on the exact same flight path every year, long-term continuous data becomes available.
Under mass wasting again. Type is thaw slump. Characteristic is retrogressive. Type is lowland. The characteristic is high and low centered polygons and polygonal pattern bonding.
It quickly became apparent that slumps, along with polygons, were everywhere. It didn't matter which side of the transect you looked. When slumps with active headwalls and exposed ice were spotted, we would land to gather samples of the headwall ice. Samples were taken by drilling into the slump's headwall and sometimes by vertically piercing the tundra where slumps were predicted to form in the coming year. Now technically it's incorrect to call these samples ice. The samples are permafrost samples, which means they can be composed of a variety of sediments and organic material. And this is the exact reason why the thaw seen in these slumps is a problem. That organic matter is old. Determined through isotope analysis, we have learned that the buildup of carbon and methane in permafrost dates back past the last ice age. In total, permafrost stores around 1.5 trillion metric tons of organic carbon. That's double the amount that is currently in the planet's atmosphere. For every foot of permafrost that thaws, as slumps expand, the North threatens to sink into itself. I hope that by being able to visualize the process undertaken in this project, it helps you to better be able to picture what is at stake when considering Arctic thaw, and the release of gases like CO2 and methane. I hope that this puts into perspective how habitat and infrastructure can be put at risk with a future of continued warming. As well, I hope that you're able to learn a bit about my research, and thank you for watching.
All that talk about the Arctic kind of got me thinking. Did you know the North Pole isn't on land? But yet, the most northern part of the world is actually just a polar ice cap, and this was proved when the USS Nautilus traveled underneath the North Pole on its way to Alaska from Iceland.
It's probably where Santa hides his workshop.
The next film was created by two current students, Emma Marple and Kira Murray. It follows them on their mountain bike pack rafting expedition along the Sunshine Coast this past summer. As they traveled through, they were able to talk to local communities about potential for ecotourism in the area and any troubles that tourism development has along the Sunshine Coast. Now presenting A Fine Line by Kira and Emma.
Say something.
The lure of the wild and rugged Sunshine Coast grabbed our curiosity. This led to many months of research and preparing for our expedition. However, our plans very quickly became washed away. This is where our adventure begins.
On the Salish Sea. Woo! We got our bikes, got a good system going. Managed to get everything on our rafts.
Somehow, we're actually floating. Yesterday, it was questionable if these bikes were actually going to fit onto the rafts, Because to be honest, we hadn't tried it before. So,
Whoops.
Yeah, we got our socks out to dry here, which is pretty nice.
Doing some laundry.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable that we're actually like doing this. The 360 sinless donut spin. Good morning.
Our adventure took a turn when Emma's friend Axel went missing in the ocean. We packed up and shifted gears to discover more about the potential for ecotourism on the Sunshine Coast. These are the voices of the locals.
My name's Martin. I run Up the Creek Backpacker Lodge in Roberts Creek. I've been doing so for 18 years now, since 2004. We're the only hostel-style accommodation on the whole Sunshine Coast, trying to appeal to travellers and families alike. For about 3 years of my life at Roberts Creek, I was actually the president of Sunshine Coast Tourism. So yeah, of course I'd like to see more tourism on the coast, but I think it needs to be done sustainably. To me, the greatest success with my place is when I have a full house of people, like I gauge this as a success, when I have a full house of people but not a single car in the driveway. Most of the people who come to my place are coming for nature or adventure. So they're coming either to relax in the forest or the ocean, or they're coming for adventure, be that kayaking or scuba diving or mountain biking or touring cycling. A huge number of tourists come to use the forest, be that hiking the Sunshine Coast Trail or mountain biking in Elphinstone. Lots and lots of people using the forest, so the more the forest is taken from us, the less tourists will find that enjoyable.
Hello, my name is Ross Muirhead. I'm with the conservation group Elphinstone Logging Focus, also known as ELF. And we're a Sunshine Coast based group here in Owisam and Roberts Creek. The tourism industry and the recreational industry is not being considered in the valuation of these forested lands. But they're undervaluing this land that is so close to our community.
It seems to me that there's more wood getting out of the woods. It's logging truck after logging truck. Not everybody is of the same mind, of course, but well, that's okay. But I'm sure that the tourism is always it speaks to people, because we're all tourists,
Above us, just to the north, is a cup lock that ELF tried to stop going on about 6 years ago. Our argument at the time was that the province really didn't know the value of expanding this provincial park to the local tourism economy and also for First Nations use. The recreational potential would have been long-term, ongoing, for as long as there's people on this planet to enjoy it.
I know there are some people within the forestry industry that are trying to create a balance, and I'd like to see that addressed more accurately.
Too much ecotourism is like anything else. It's a balance. So a little bit of forestry done well, and ecotourism, of course, it's the future.
man, I feel really bad for the film who has to follow that. So this next film is by Tegan Neem. Oh, that's me. It's of the 2022 Purcell Mountains backpacking expedition. It was led by students and supervised by Professor Ian Sherrington and Etol alumni and ACMG guide Will Woods. It follows us students on our quest to discover leadership, friendship, and mountaintops. Please enjoy Will and Ian's Death March to Nowhere.
It is okay to say, this scares the shit out of me. Why are we doing this? Right? Why can't we do that or that or that? Why is it that, like, that's an okay thing to do? We're a group, and this is not Will and Ian's Death March to Nowhere. Kind of is.
You did just name my film.
The fact remains that this is a unique experience, something that probably no one else has had. Quite frankly, it's not going to be easy. We're gonna have some moments where things are going to be difficult, maybe longer than a moment, maybe a day, maybe a couple days. But the point is that we're going to do this as a group.
Hey Robbie, what's the chicken wire for?
So the porcupines don't eat your brake wires, and you can't drive out of here.
What we're finding is that not a lot of people have spent a lot of time in here.
Yeah.
You know, like just asking around the mountain community, there's a lot of people who are like, oh yeah, it looks like a cool zone. Have you ever been there? Nope. I heard there's a cabin in there. Oh yeah, great, okay, thanks. Like, you know, so yeah, there is that bit of like, yeah, sure, our route goes over this pass, and maybe it's not going to, because it's not gonna work, you know? So I think we've got a good route, but yeah, there's always that little bit of like, maybe there's a 20-meter cliff in there somewhere in those contour lines, and that totally changes our program, right? A couple steps and you're through it, and it looks enjoyable.
To me, like, that is something I would have never thought that I would ever do with like a big backpack. Like, yeah, maybe for a day trip, but it's just, to me, like, before I came on this trip, I was like, that's not doable. Like, that's just not something we would ever do. So I think, yeah, I just felt really like accomplished and I guess proud when we got up to the top there. So that will definitely stick with me.
Oh my goodness, having to pack off and just like being up there, that was just, that's what made it.
I would never think that I could do anything like this the whole day. Terrain, like, I mean, I just definitely couldn't say no, I'm not gonna do this. That would not work. I wanted to do it, I was just really scared.
Lovely weather we're having today.
We did that. We went from up there, you can't even see it.
Who's up there?
And then down here, and we survived.
We made it!
Woo! Sorry to use the
Things cannot be stressful even if you're not 100% prepared for them.
I can do more than I think I can do.
Be a good leader unless you're being yourself.
I'm really trying to take in the full experience.
I just need to place one foot in front of another.
I actually do feel like I belong, which is really great.
I love you guys.
So much love for you guys.
Oh my God, amazing.
The lake is gone.
Dry as a popcorn fart.
I told Harley that by the end of these 9 days, I'm gonna be brave enough to go poop in the first bowl myself.
You a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas.
The only dry shoes that I have left, so no crying on them. I accept that you were right, and I am in fact wrong.
There's no mold on my wrap.
So this was, my glasses, I can't see. This was our only expedition film in film night this year. But there was 2 other major expeditions that occurred this year and that occur every year. So these included a 10-day sea kayaking trip in Tofino, where students can become professional guides under the Sea Kayak Guides Alliance of BC, and an 8-day canoe trip on the Sunshine Coast. Now, that was our last Esker film. So thank you so much to all the folks who worked so hard to submit a film. That concludes the first half of the films for the night.
Be sure to vote for your favorite photo and video using the QR codes on the screen here. Remember when you're out there to take a look at our raffle tables, the online silent auction, the 50-50, and we'll be announcing all of these later in the evening. I will see you guys all in the line to the bar. Let's try to make it back here at 8:35. The show will resume and the second half will start.
For Laura here. All the mics came back. Yeah. Yeah.
Chairs there, or yes?
Yeah, I got the chairs. We're good. All right, and they're both on and good? For you.
Thank you.
You get this chair. You get the big nice chair. How are the roads on the way here? Did you get here all right?
They're bad.
Okay, that's good.
What are you asking me?
We'll just chat about growing your experience.
Okay.
I want to talk about the importance of like being outside.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll talk about.
Okay.
Just outdoor experience. I know you, because I don't really know anything about you outside of the school stuff and the growing roots. So I might ask you just some questions about that.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
Okay.
It'll be like super free flowing.
Yeah, totally. I was just like,
Yeah. What? Help? I think I'm alright. Okay. I don't know when we're going live. So let's see. I want to be counted in. I want to know when I'm live. That's what I need to know. Jason, yeah.
Ethan's interviewing you.
No way.
For the intermission. Yeah.
I'll go free to go. I'm gonna go buy merch, but I'll come back.
He's gonna, it's for the online part.
Cool. That's awesome. You didn't tell me you were doing an interview.
Yeah, it like super came up. Yeah, it's like I did a pre-show too.
I knew. I walked in on the pre-show and I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, I started at like 6. I was talking to like Rusty, Ian, and Jason.
No way.
I was supposed to talk to Paul and Becca and Santana too, but they bailed on us.
Classic.
Yeah. They're ready for us whenever.
Okay. I'll come back and watch.
You don't have to. Have your, go get your beer.
Alrighty. Radical, and they're gonna cue us whenever we're ready.
That's great.
Yeah. And I think we are ready. Oh yeah, they are listening to us. These are hot mics. No, you're good. You don't need to touch it.
Okay.
Speak into it. See if you can see if they can hear
Hello.
you. They can hear you.
Yep.
Okay. So you caught the last 2 films, right? You caught the MS one. 2 films in. What do you think? Is this your first film night?
It is my first film night, yeah.
Do you like it so far?
Yeah, it was awesome. I wish I could have gotten here earlier.
Yeah, that's all right.
I was hanging out with another Etol grad doing her spin class.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. The films this year were really good. I really liked them. So, for those of people in the crowd and those watching online, who are you? What are you about?
I am Laura Sprout. I am one of the co-founders of Growing Roots Forest Play. Last year, Lori Toma, the other founder, was one of the winners of the Friends of Etol. So that's sort of our connection to the Etol program. Yeah, so it's a forest school based in Cochrane that we've got mostly 3 to 5-year-olds outside playing all year round. It's fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. Yeah, it's I can't tell you how many people I've told that like about the forest school and the preschool. And it's like, yeah, these 3-year-olds are just running around in like 0 degrees, -10. They're having a time. Don't care. Like it's cold, whatever. But like they're in t-shirts anyways. They don't want to wear the coats.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, what? No, that doesn't happen.
No.
And it's crazy. Like like the kids run hot is one thing that I've really noticed, that the kids warm up so quickly.
Yeah.
Like it could be so cold. They do like a lap and they're like, I don't want to take my jacket off. Like I'm chilling. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild.
Yeah, they do warm up. Unfortunately,
yeah, and it's
not all of them do. So the last couple of days we've had to, tone it down, but
yeah,
they do. Yeah, and the fact that we can be out there playing all year round is amazing.
Yeah, it's because one thing that I found is super interesting with just how the preschool works and the fact that like seeing the dynamics is like one thing that everyone always talks about so much with camping and just going out in the outdoors is like you grow relationships so much more, and like you grow as a person just by like an overnighter. You grow so quickly. It seems obvious that like as adults we learn social skills and we grow so much as people in 48 hours in the backcountry.
Yeah.
When there's a level of schooling that is literally just social development. Like you're not really learning anything in preschool in the city, right? Like not really. It's just to learn social skills and social development. It's a no-brainer that it should be in the outdoors. In my like when you think about it, it should just be a no-brainer. But it's not common. Like you don't really see it.
It's not. I think nature just, again, as you said, leads us so much to connection, whether it's with ourselves, with others, with the environment itself. It is such a natural spot for those social connections because there's no other you can't have a preconceived notion of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think all those social skills come from. We're like in a regular preschool classroom, you've like, okay, they've got to learn this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Where outside, the weather could change your plans. You can't have set plans that you're going to follow because nature will change.
Yeah.
Things will change.
Yeah.
And so I think it just does lead naturally to all those social skill development that are so important in that pre-kindergarten age. In terms of like just sharing, cooperation, like there's so much just built-in play, and our play outside there's that extra element.
Yeah, and even like just even aside from the social skills, there's a lot to learn there in terms of just like everyday thing. The one thing that'll like it sticks in my mind is when I was playing with the kids like a month ago, whatever. I taught one of them how to tie a knot. Yeah, and they're like no idea how to tie a knot, and that's like one of the like, main things you learn growing up is like how to tie your shoes, how to tie it up. And I was like, oh my goodness, I was a part of that, and like this kid is learning this here in the outdoors, but in like an applicable way. It wasn't like I have to tie my shoes. No, I want my mom to tie my shoes.
Yeah.
It was like I am interested and I want to do this.
Exactly, and like it's not like that little fake shoe where you're
Yeah.
trying to tie a knot and tie it, and they're just
Yeah.
learning it over repetition with no background. But then, learning how to tie a knot, and then that repetition comes by tying a knot over and over and over, and just seeing what can be done with those knots and how they can tie things up or untie things. And it's the and then again, it's the same with all the other elements about like weather and things like that, right? Like you learn about the wind, but to just understand and see it move and what it does is way different. You can see kids in preschools doing their weather charts, where for us, like, it's obvious what the weather is.
It's super awesome. It's super cool. And then another thing is like the growing, like when I brought up in class, I'm like, I'm doing my practicum at Growing Roots, to outdoor preschool, and like not everyone knew like, Growing Roots, like another, but everyone, well, like not everyone, like a lot of people, like, like that preschool, like the outdoor preschool that like a lot of people work with in Etol. And like it's super cool, the relationship that like Growing Roots has with Etol, and I think that it's a good opportunity for Etol to try and reach out to and try and foster things similar to Growing Roots in other locations as well.
Yeah, I think so. We are lucky. We've got a great relationship with the Etol program. We've had a lot of practicum students and graduates have come and worked through us. And having Lori, who's been so involved here with the Etol program, has been probably instrumental in that. But it's such a different angle, but it's the same concepts, and you're getting them at the foundation.
Yeah.
Right? So you're being able to teach things at a grassroots level. It doesn't have to be a high end, especially like with students coming out, right? Like harder but easier to teach than kids, because it doesn't have to be complex. It can be really basic knowledge and has such a profound impact that they'll go on and on with it. I had coffee with a friend today whose kiddo is 8 now. He was in the program when he was 4, and they've moved away, and he still talks about forest school. And he still talks about some of those things, and he still sings the song in the morning in the car. Like, it's just amazing how that natural, that impact, that when you plant the seeds young, how it can just grow. Yeah. And I laugh with a few of our kids. I'm like, you guys are future staff. Like, you can see it, their ability to work with others and then foster that knowledge. So I don't know, I think I come from a camp background. And so I know that, like you're talking about, how much impact it is in spending time together outside, like in residential camps when you're there for a week. It's just such a huge impact socially, but just like your growth is huge. And so, being able to see that in that place-based learning with these kids, where they come back to that space over and over with the same people, the growth is just huge.
Yeah. So as I was saying earlier, as obvious as outdoor preschool seems, it's not a common thing. So in the short version, how did you find yourself there? Like how did you
I get
discover
there?
that? Yeah. Like, what happened there?
A roundabout way. My background's recreation, therapeutic recreation. So I started working in camps. I worked at Easter Seals Camp Horizon out on Highway 66. That's what brought me west. But, and then spending time working with youth in like Boys and Girls Clubs and spaces like that. Then I branched out on my own and got really involved with actually physical literacy and working with kids in the physical literacy. And that's what brought me into that younger age group. And then I wanted to do, I think I'd gone to a risky play workshop and just sort of this intro, and it just planted this seed. Because at the time I'm still doing some physical literacy programming for little kids. And then Lori and I started chatting because she was always interested in a nature preschool.
Right.
So it was neat because she came back at it from like the environmental education point of view. And then I came at it from the risky play, physical literacy point of view. And then it was really neat how organically, I'd say, it happened. We did a pilot program for 10 weeks with 10 kids. And by that fall, we launched. So the first one was done under my program, was called Sprout Movement before. Which was more, again, I was doing some play programs that were, for me, it was natural to take it outside, like where is a better place to do physical literacy than on those natural elements. And so then that kind of took it, and then we grew. That first term, we started with 12 kids on our 2-day week. And they were, at that time, we did the full year, and then the Wednesdays were seasonal. So we started with 12 kids, and then another additional sort of 10, and we just, again, word of mouth. At first, they were a lot of our friends, but it really just grew by word of mouth. But for me, it was definitely that desire to be connected to nature, and that play and movement was, for me, a big place was play and movement. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that like really just like was like a culture shock almost in this camps was like, because I did wind sport summer camps.
Yeah.
Like all summer, and so I was like in that mindset. And those are kids not that young. It's like 10 to 14 was what I usually did, and even at the age of 10 to 14, there's like a lot of things that I was like, we're just not going to do that. It's too, like, you're going to get hurt. We're just not going to do it, especially with like the younger kids. I've worked with some younger kids before, and there's like a lot of stuff that's like, no, hard no, can't get hurt. And then I rolled up to forest school, and these kids are like running around on like a jungle gym of woods and stumps and like falling and tripping and like taking like trees to the face. And I was like, oh my God, I was like freaking out. But I was like, everyone who works here is pretty cool with this. The kids aren't crying, the kids are fine. But it was like this massive thing where it's like, you mentioned risky play. And I was like, yeah, this is risky play, but like the kids are fine. And it just like was one of those, like, yeah, kids really are just bulletproof. And I think sometimes we overstep on that.
Yeah, I think kids are able to do way more than we realize.
Yeah.
In terms of, again, that risky play and that like the resiliency, but their abilities are beyond what the classroom setting. Like, again, I was working with the school, and the kids weren't allowed to play on our ropes that we had set up. They can play on the jungle gym at school, but they can't play on the rope we have a foot off the ground because it was too risky. But like, we know their abilities, yet like, it was really neat. When we had a school group, the last time a school group came, the teacher was in awe of these kids working together with a rope and a bucket because they wanted to climb them into the tree. And so they had to figure that out, how to do that. But I wouldn't let the parents help.
Yeah.
And so that was another huge learning. She said that was what she took the most of it, was these parents just being able to stand back and bite their tongue and like not jump in and say, be careful, and not jump in and tell them what to do, or jump in and just lift them up and then not have that learning that happens.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's the thing with again, a lot of the risky play, there's so much learning that happens by themselves. Like, we won't lift a kid we don't have great trees where we are right now, but we don't lift a kid up. They've got to figure out how far to climb.
Yeah.
And then that's their learning.
Do you have like a moment in your head of a kid doing something and you're just like, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen? Like, do you have like, I'm sure you have a lot of those. But like, do you have like a moment, like pick maybe like one or two of like, that's just, like, I'll remember that one.
There's a lot. Oh man, I don't know if I can think of a spot.
It is quite the question.
It is a good one, but man.
Or like maybe just like something that really stands out that like a kid did or whatever.
Yeah.
That like you're like, oh, like that's really wild or like really, really funny.
I think one funny one the other day was there was two kids had built a teeter-totter out of just like a log and a board, but one of them had been to a protest the day before with his mom. And so they're on it going, save the teeter-totter, save the teeter-totter, which they don't know is actually pretty true, right? Like, in how many playgrounds, there's no more teeter-totters.
Yeah.
And it was just really funny. I'm like, that's them just processing the learning of the protest from the day before.
Okay, that's actually
But it was really funny to watch
that's
them living out their experience, and yet how relevant, like, we need to save the teeter-totter.
Yeah, that's a good idea. One of the things that is just like so kid-like, but is like my favorite, is Riker.
Yeah.
That's his name, right? Yeah. With his Spider-Man suit.
Yeah.
He wears the Spider-Man, like the full Spider-Man get-up under his clothes for like the last many weeks.
Yeah.
It's very good. I love it. I'll remember that one.
Yeah, there's so many of those, and those kids that just will. There's another girl, like there's some kids that just their timelines you connect with.
Yeah.
One of the girls, when I came back, because I had spent a year in Australia after we started the program, and I came back, and so her and I came back at the same time, and she would wear all winter wears her ski goggles.
Oh yeah.
It was so just neat to see, because it took like a long time to like actually see her face and get to know her, but just there was a certain connection about that, like always like the wind bothered her, so she had her ski goggles on. So her brothers are now in the program, so I'm curious to see if they'll
Yeah.
come with their ski goggles now. But yeah, there's just some kids that you really connect with and watch them. You can really see their growth, I think.
Oh, yeah.
She's one, we did Halloween, and she ran off a picnic table with her cape on. So I've got a picture of her full flight, like with this cape out, and her jumping off the picnic table, so she looks like she's flying.
Yeah, the kids, another one of my favorite things about these kids is that, like, they can fall off and, like, dome themselves, like, get annihilated. And then if you run up to them and you're like, oh my God, are you okay? Like, oh, like that looked like it really hurt. They bawl. They just is the end of the world. But if you run up to them and be like, ha ha ha, that was so cool, rad. They're like, yeah, it was. You're right. And they're no pain. They're totally good.
100%.
They're such divas.
Yeah, and so it's funny because I always say, oh, kaboom. Whenever somebody hits the ground, my first thing I always say is kaboom.
Yeah.
And then it gives it time to judge or for them to like figure out how they're feeling. But I try not to like, you don't want to acknowledge them until they figure out how they're feeling, because if you have eye contact, there's going to be tears.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but they do. There's some pretty big falls, but a lot of them just get up and keep going.
Yeah. I know we chatted about it earlier. Next year, you think maybe a Growing Roots featured film?
That would be
Next year?
awesome.
Maybe.
It would be great to have
I think
a film.
that'd be pretty rad.
We need someone to do a film. Hint, hint.
Yeah. Maybe that could be something for Etol 4270 next year. Maybe a feature film for Growing Roots, perhaps. That could be pretty fun.
That would be fun. It'd be great to have it for promo and just to show everyone what we do.
Yeah.
It's funny because parents are like, "What happens back there? What do you do?" I'm like, "It's Fight Club. We don't talk about what happens." Because so many kids, it's hard to it's hard for me to articulate, let alone a 5-year-old. What did they do today? I'm like, I didn't spend my time with them, so they could have been doing something over here while I was over here, and so I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So the two films that you saw, it was Emma and it was the canoeing one, and then what was the last film? Oh, it was the Tegan's film.
Exhibition one.
If you had to pick one.
I think I'm drawn to the Sunshine Coast one because I've been to Roberts Creek.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
So there's when there's again, it's when you have a connection to place, how much
Yeah.
it more connects you to the film. Because I was like, I've been there.
Yeah.
I spent a week in Roberts Creek. It was cool, and ran on the trails and stuff there. So it's kind of neat. But yeah, it's been fantastic. What's the biggest thing you've gotten out of Growing Roots?
Sorry?
I'm reversing the questions. What's the biggest thing you've gotten out of practicum at Growing Roots?
Oh yeah. Sorry, you said.
What's the biggest thing you've learned?
Oh, biggest thing
You've
I've
gained.
learned? Biggest thing I've gained? Balancing, because I love playing with the kids so much, but balancing just like me controlling the play, kind of like playing with them too much, or like versus letting them do their thing, letting them grow. Play with the other kids, letting them be part of the situation, versus me like jumping in there and be like super involved. Because at first you think about it and you're like you want to be as involved as possible as like a teacher, right? You want the kids to like you, you want to be in there. But that's not always the play. Sometimes you want to step back and let them do their thing.
Yes, exactly.
And finding that balance is really
totally.
Yeah.
I think we're getting cued.
Yeah. Next minute or so? Okay, cool. We're being kicked out.
Perfect.
It is kicking out time.
Awesome.
For those of you online, I don't know what camera it is. Let's go with this camera. 50-50 tickets. Buy 50-50 tickets. There's also, 50-50 tickets I don't think you guys can buy online. Online auction, though. There's a silent auction where you can bet on a whole bunch of stuff. It all is donated to Etol. And we would really like that money because we like to go on fun trips. So please help us out with that. And then you can get some gear, too. Maybe if you bet high enough. So who knows? And unless you have any closing remarks, go to Growing Roots. If you have kiddos that are like young, sign up for Growing Roots. Do it. It's fun. It's good. Yeah. I think we'll call it at that.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks very much, Ethan.
No problem.
righty, folks. Yeah. So, right now we're going to give you your 2-minute warning to finish your voting. After that, make sure your phones are off for the rest of the evening. So yeah, 2 minutes, get it done, if you haven't already.
Can we put the QR codes back up quickly?
Oh, we're trying. Hey. All right. All right. So, welcome back, folks. Hope you enjoyed your intermission. Hope you got the opportunity to vote for the films, got the opportunity to look at all of the awesome competitions, got a drink, saw some friends, made some new friends. Yeah.
Guys, we want to talk about the Alan Derbyshire Award. Alan Derbyshire started the Etol program and built it into what it is today. Funds from this event and other fees go in towards the Alan Derbyshire Scholarship. What that comes of is students can apply into this and they will be rewarded a sum of money to help them out with one of their major graduation requirements. That's either a minimum 8-day self-led expedition. That is a major certificate that is over 80 hours typically, and then as well a large 40-hour first aid ticket. So we thank you guys for helping us, Etol students, be able to receive out of the Alan Derbyshire Fund and continue doing everything that we can do and get outside. We also want to discuss the Rocky Mountain Adventure Medicine Award. This is coming back after a break from COVID. Students, if you guys are currently enrolled in Etol and you guys do not have your 80-hour first aid ticket, you're able to apply, and that closes in January of 2023. And after a little bit of a write-up, one student will be awarded and given an 80-hour wilderness first responder ticket. I currently hold a first aid license under them, and I know a bunch of other Etolers do. I can tell you firsthand, they are the best in the industry, and I would not go to anyone else for first aid training. You know, after talking about all these awards and seeing these awards come up on stage,
coming out,
I think we should just do one right now.
We should.
Do you guys think we should just do one right now? You guys, in this very stinky ski boot, I have every single seat. Okay, we are gonna randomly pick one. Someone sitting here, whether you bought a raffle or not, is gonna walk away with a prize right now. Look at your seat number, figure it out. I'm so sorry, Tegan. Wash your hand after this.
Yeah. Oh man, everyone has to look at their seat number.
Yeah.
Okay. Have one?
Just one?
Yep, just one.
Okay.
Oh, no, it's one. Yep.
Okay.
All right, everyone's got their seat number? If the person next to you has their seat number, you can figure yours out too. All right. The row is R. The seat is number 103.
Who is R103? It's got to be someone. Hey, we have a winner! Please stay standing, and Lorianne is going to come give you your prize for tonight. Well done. Good job.
We got Lorianne right here with the bandana and the envelope. She's coming to you.
Do what's next.
So, what's coming up for your second half here? We've got 4 awesome feature films for you tonight. After that, we're going to do the prizes and the draws and the 50-50 winners. And then, finally, the big moment, the film and photo competition winners, where we will award the Esker.
You guys, our next feature film, I hold pretty close to me. I have, for the past 4 years, and currently am, the president of the Outdoor Adventure Club here at Mount Royal. I'm commonly referred to as El Prez out on the street. I'm really happy to announce that this club is fully back in action post-pandemic and finally functioning as a major outlet for students to get outside and have new experiences. The club's main goal is to create a safe and educational community that builds memories that will last a lifetime, not just throughout your degree. We currently have almost weekly events, from glow-in-the-dark climbing to ski, movie, and ski tuning night next week, to ACMG taught practical days and courses. Working with the HPED department here, Mount Royal Recreation, we are able to offer really fun events, so I really strongly urge all current students to check us out on Instagram. It's at MRU_OAC, and join us for our next event. I would also like to thank our club's sponsors, Fulcrum Poles, Doer Clothing, and Atmosphere, along with a big thank you and shout out to Jesse Sheets and Ian Sherrington for their continued support and trust in letting me and my other 4 colleagues running the club take people outdoors and not hurt them. So thank you guys. This film coming up is our first feature film. It is the OAC's film. It follows a backpacking trip and a canoeing trip that students did over this fall reading week. We normally get the questions from parents, grandparents, and friends why we continue to venture further and deeper. Inherent risks are involved in outdoor recreation, but the Outdoor Adventure Club strives to help students experience and learn in a safe environment. Yeah, thank you very much. Pretty new to university. How has the outdoors helped you recently?
Justin, so far it's been really good for me. I'm enjoying being out here, and it definitely relieves a lot of stress just being able to walk across the land. Alongside that, all the friendships. I mean, so much fun out here. Meet new people, take out old friends, all that, and then on top of that, it's just more learning experiences.
Lorianne, what do the outdoors mean to you?
The outdoors, I just love getting outside. It helps with my mental health, and then getting out with a great group of people from MRU Outdoor Club is amazing, and we have a lot of fun, and it's just awesome to get out and enjoy the amazing weather.
Thank you. All right, Mac, why do you go outside?
For me, it's just always peaceful out here. I don't have to worry about anything. There's no worries in the mountains. You're just on your own. You're just having a good time.
Thank you. Hey, Jared, why are the outdoors so important in your life?
I think the outdoors are so important in my life because it provides really good balance. It gives me the opportunity to kind of get outside and have a healthy balance between city life and school and be able to come out and enjoy the outdoors with friends is something I value a lot. And it's great to meet new people and share these experiences together.
Thank you. Silas, what do the outdoors mean to you?
Oh, they're just a great place for people to get out and connect with others, and yeah, it just offers a good medium for people to be together. I like it.
Thanks, Silas.
Hey Justin, why are you pursuing a career in the outdoor industry?
I think getting to come outside and share experience with people is one of the greatest things you can do in life. It makes me feel super happy.
I lost my spot. All right, so our next film is titled Mother Earth. It's a short film featuring British Columbia's First Nations and local mountain biking community. Yeah. Narrated by Daniel Wells, a member of the Ilwat First Nation, the film is about the deep connection both groups have, mountain bike, those two, both groups have with the environment. I lost my spot. Again, sorry folks. From the open meadows to ancient forests, the film discovers the stunning landscapes that that British Columbia has to offer through the riding of professional rider William Robert.
Have you ever had this feeling? I feel that nature speaks, that forest speaks. Most of the time, we are simply not patient enough, quiet enough to pay attention. Grandfather Sky and Mother Earth are talking for those who listen. Why am I exploring nature? Well, it's simple. It's to be healed, to have my senses put together. The love of nature is a common language, and by spending more time exploring it, I understand everything better. Do you hear that sound? Is the world not beautiful and magnificent? Sometimes I feel the spirits I feel the magic. Here, you can find wonder for your eyes if you look with curiosity and love. I have much respect for Mother Earth. Sometimes she impresses me, but then I feel alive. Just go, get lost, and see for yourself. Sometimes Mother Earth is my playground, a place where I can push my limits to see how far I can go. Do you feel the wind? Do you feel the elements? As for me, I feel free. For me, I give thanks to Mother Earth for every opportunity she gives me every day of my life. Mother Earth is not an option, but a necessity. Never lose respect for a beautiful place and enjoy the feeling that it gives you. And if you've never had this feeling, then just go get lost and see for yourself.
So, this next film is my own. Follows myself and my friends, one of whom is in the audience, on a crazy journey riding mountain bikes from Mexico to Alaska. The film follows the adventures, the mishaps, and everything else that the trip endured, testing the limits of the human spirit and making new friends along the way. From Mexico to Banff, we rode on the Great Divide mountain bike route, also known as the GDMBR, the Tour Divide, and the trail that Lorianne did 8 films ago. Most people ride north to south, ending in Mexico, or ending on the Mexico border. We did the opposite. Because of this, and the fact that we were continuing to Alaska, we became known on the trail as the Northbounders. Please enjoy my film, Northbounders.
It started right here. I was sitting in stats class, bored, out of my mind, and I turned to the guy next to me and I said, "Hey, Ben, what are you doing this summer?" And I kind of knew Ben.
He said, "Well, I'm gonna ride my bike from Mexico to Alaska." I said, "That's amazing." He said, "Do you want to come with me?"
I knew if I said no, I would regret it for the rest of my life.
So 4 months later, me, Ben, and my friend Arda found ourselves getting onto a plane.
It's hot! It is! I've never been a distance athlete. I've never run a marathon or a triathlon. I wasn't even on the high school track team. The longest bike ride I'd done before this was a 37-kilometer road ride with my mom. I was exhausted afterwards. None of us had a clue what we were doing, but we didn't need to. It's an adventure.
This is Elburn and Vino, I think, the town over here. Do it?
Hold on. Oh, he already did.
Oh, yeah.
Boom. There's Mexico. Feeling Mexican air.
Oh.
Woo. Wait. Woo. We're riding. First real pedal strokes. Yeah, It's really hard to deal with because it's day one and like I'm tired and I'm hot, but mostly like my legs are sore, and Arda and Ben, they're way up ahead there, and I feel like I'm really slow and I'm really working hard, and they're not. Like, they're either way more fit or their bike is way better set up than mine is. And either way, I'm in trouble. I expected this to be difficult and challenging, but I didn't expect it to be this difficult on the first day.
Definitely not a...
Day 3, is it?
Day 3, yeah.
Day 3, baby! Technically day 4 if we want to count the first day of travel.
So, I don't know if I'm in focus or if you can even see me, but we have just discovered that this whole campsite is absolutely teeming with black widow spiders, which is really bad.
Alrighty. The day 6? Flat number, what, 5?
I think so.
Oh.
And all on mine.
This wind is horrible. It is the worst thing I can imagine. It is relentless and pounding, and even when you're going downhill, you have to pedal just to stay moving. And you pedal hard. It's like a constant uphill. Ah! You got water for us?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Save here.
Yeah. What's your name?
Ramon.
Pardon?
Ramon.
Ramon.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, great to meet you.
I'll probably see you guys back on my way back to the
You probably will. Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, bring me down if you need more.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Means the world.
Oh my god, I was actually getting worried.
Yeah. I was rationing that last few sips.
Does it get better than this, Arda? No. I check.
We were told that there would be a campsite with water, with a water pump, about, I don't know, 5 kilometers back, but we couldn't find it. Either it doesn't exist or we just missed it. So, out of necessity, we are finding a water hole in the desert and filtering some water out of this dry ass bed.
We've gone now 120 kilometers without any water, and we got 50 to go still. Hopefully there'll be some water in the next town.
So that's 170 kilometers without water.
Except for this.
Except for this. Yummy.
Our friend Daniel St. Louis showed up over here.
Hey! Morning. And Daniel, how far of the rest of the trip, how far are you going?
The rest of it.
The rest of it. All the way, baby.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
However long that takes, no way to know.
Yeah.
No way to know.
We hit 1,000 kilometers today.
Hell
since the start, since the day one.
Like, what exactly happened?
The railer destroyed. You just got absolutely blown up. To be able to hold it here.
Well, you can't hold the zip. You can't.
Doesn't need something on this side.
I don't think I can't do the tour divide anymore.
Really?
Well, no, like if you get
a do this again.
Yeah, I hope we still ride together. Oh, yeah. Yeah, figure something out. Well, best of luck.
Daniel bought a new bike, and the two of them took the highways home. They went a lot faster than Arda and I, who were still on the trail.
Fun 2 weeks, man.
Yeah, it was a fun 2 weeks.
Colorado.
The mental game that we play with the elements is incredibly challenging.
It's cold.
There's no clean, dry clothes to put on in the morning, no warm bed to go to in the evening. For 7 hours a day, we ride, and if the weather doesn't cooperate, we ride.
What'd you say? It's so pretty, but it's so cold.
We're left with
Like,
2 options.
it just burns.
We can despise our suffering,
Oh, my face hurts.
or we can embrace it.
He vibing out.
So this morning we woke up and it was raining, and we rode uphill a little, and it started snowing, and now it's hailing. Oh, and sleet as well. I'm still feeling great though. It's good to be out here. It's good to feel alive. We're on pavement. Yee-hoo! Ben and Daniel are long gone. They are in Wyoming.
we're still halfway to Colorado.
Basically, we're in the Great Divide Basin, which is a big old swath of nothingness. Also famous for having no water, which is ironic because we got rained on.
Heavily rained on.
All morning. But now it's not raining, and we're a little more worried about our water. But there's just nothing here. It's so empty.
Oh yeah, keychain.
So we meet this guy called John, who turns out has just finished riding his bike from Las Vegas to Yellowstone and Grand Teton. Arda had university courses starting in Calgary as soon as we got home, and it didn't look like Ben and Daniel were going to want to join for the Alaska section.
There's no air left in
Just instant flat.
Massive.
So this is what's up. Keegan is an ox. He's got no...
The flat tire meant that I had a few extra hours with John to try to convince him to join me in Alaska.
John, any thoughts? It's a big
What are you eating, Arda?
Butter.
Now, how is it?
So we're just a few kilometers from the Canadian border. And I cannot express how good it feels. Arda, how do you feel? How do you feel, Arda? So good! Coming home!
Did it. Yeah, we really did it. We did it. Y'all ain't never gonna make it. Big fan.
We're in Canada!
Maybe we should just...
There's just a cabin out here. It's just like free, like it's just like, yeah, anyone stay out there.
Did you know why I do this? Why you blow on the fire?
Yeah.
Why?
Purely for...
Good.
Then tomorrow, we roll home into Calgary
which is also crazy exciting that we've made it all the way from Mexico home to Calgary. Also, kind of feeling a little sad because today and tomorrow is the last day I get to ride with Marta before I'm either on my own or maybe with John. We've got like 10 kilometers left to Banff, and then we have officially completed the longest and most important bikepacking route in the world, as it is known. That's Banff, we did. Tour de Banff, done. Hold it high. Ride fast, starter. Hey. Hey, buddy. Hey. Hey, dog.
Getting home was awesome. I didn't want to leave. I said I was going to Alaska, so I was going. I took a bus to Vancouver and I met up with John. Pulled through.
It's happening. It's happening. Are you stoked? I'm f***ing stoked. Vancouver.
So you're from Vancouver?
Yeah, I live in Vancouver.
Yeah, nice. You done much bikepacking before?
This is my first time bikepacking.
Okay.
I'm good. How are you?
200 meters. I will officially have ridden my bike from Mexico to Alaska. Rolling in.
Yeah!
I did it. I'm in Alaska. I just rode my bike from Mexico to Alaska. Wow. I was worried that wouldn't actually like hit as real as it did, and it hit.
And I thought biking Lake Moraine Road was really hard.
All right, so where are we?
We would now like to introduce a video from Gila Ventures. This is a short film from one of our sponsors, Gila. Gila has been a generous supporter of the Etol program for years, supporting us at film night, assisting with expeditions, helping students reach their practicum requirements. Gila is a prime example of an organization that continues to give back to this community. Continue to watch and enjoy this film from Gila Ventures, where they'll tell you what they're all about.
It's pretty cool that we have opportunities like that for students to do their practicum. So thanks so much, Sheila, for supporting the Etol community and being a role model for the outdoor industry.
With that, that concludes all of our feature films for tonight. If you are interested and want to see more, we have alumni film series on our social media page that feature 2 different alumni. Go check it out tomorrow or later tonight, depending on what you're up to. Going into that, we have the fun stuff.
The fun stuff. So before this fun stuff, we want to thank our sponsors for this. There was a lot of them. They were super generous, and their support just goes so noticed by all of us. They donated, in total, the added collective was over $10,000 in donations. Yeah. So, to list them off, I almost feel like we need a beat. But I'm gonna start, Justin's gonna finish. So we have Alpine Canada, Aquabatics Calgary, Arc'teryx, Associate Dean Maggie Quentz, Atlas Coal Mine, Bent on the Bow, Bikes and Bits Drumheller, Boulder Climbing Community, Roasting, Boogie's Burgers, Bow Valley Brewing, Bridgeland Distillery, Bullfrog Powder, Calgary Heritage Roasting Company, Calgary Philharmonic Orchestra, Calgary Sports and Entertainment, Camp Moose Trail, Catalina Hotels, Canmore Cave Tours, woo, Cold Garden Company, Company of Adventures, Craze Outdoors, Devil's Head Coffee, East Cooley School Museum, Eau Claire Distillery, Embroidery by Becca, Aaron Odyssey, Fallen Timber Meadery, Gear Trade, Glamorgan Bakery, Gila Ventures, Higher Ground Coffee, Interpretive Guides Association, Juan Pablo, Kananaskis Outfitters, Leroy Leather,
MEC, Moxie's, Minode Sports, MRU Recreation, Norseman, Parks Canada, Panagonia, Calgary, Nikiska Ski Resort, Richmond Pub, Riders on Board, Ridley's Cycle, Rocky Mountain Adventure Medicine, Rosebud Theater, Royal Trail Museum, Sandman Hotel, Ski Uphill, Run Uphill, Spirit West, The Bike Shop, Bullet Head House, Travel Drumheller, Two Rivers Distillery, Vacay Brew Co., Village Ice Cream, Weasel Head Park Preservation Society, Wildlife Distillery, Wild Rose Brewery, Yamnuska Mountain Adventures, YMCA Calgary, Fulcrum Poles, U of C Outdoor Center, Doer Clothing, and Atmosphere West Hills.
So yes, thanks again to our wonderful sponsors. They really make this happen. Next up, we are going to introduce a beloved professor of ours. He's the head of Etol. He is Ian Sherrington. Ian, where are you?
All right. Hello, everyone. This evening is all about the students, but somehow I always manage to muscle my way up here. I'm not sure how that happens, but here I am again. Why am I here? So that's a very existential question. So the Friends of Etol Award. This is falls on my lap every year to have the honor to present the Friend of Etol Award to the deserved recipient, in this case, recipients. What is the Friend of Etol Award, you might ask? So essentially, our program could not exist without the incredible support that we have from community, from people outside of the Mount Royal kind of epicenter, and in a sustained and meaningful way, these people have supported our program over the years. Traditionally, the Friend of Etol is marked by giving the chosen recipients a paddle. And this year, the incredible artwork of that paddle was done by Sierra Vongrad. And I'm not sure where you are, but if you, oh, there you are, standing right there. Yeah. So Sierra is going to present the award. So it brings me great pleasure to announce the 2022 winners of the Friend of Etol Award as Julie and Nathan Ryan. Both of these exceptional people graduated from Etol about 15 years ago and have maintained close ties to the Etol community ever since. Their path to tying the knot, having 3 beautiful children, and embarking on 2 very different career paths started very humbly on an Etol expedition. Over the years, in her role as the Interpretation and Public Education Coordinator for Alberta Parks, Julie has employed numerous Etol graduates and provided practicums and mentorship to current students. Nathan used a business plan that he made in a marketing class during his program to start and build one of the most successful meaderies in Western Canada. And yes, that's mead, not meat. So there's a D on the end of that. So we're talking about honey wine here, not pork chops. We good there? Finally, for the past few years, they have both been instrumental in providing a location for our first year student orientation, which we call the Ignition at the Fallen Timber Meadery, which is an absolutely beautiful site. If you haven't been there, I highly recommend it. So I've written a poem for the occasion, so bear with me. Hold on, I'll just get my reading glasses on. I need to. There we go. So I've called this poem Bee's Knees and Dance Routines. There once were two kids in the program of Etol who could not have been much more different, I recall. He, the quiet son of a keeper of bees, while she reveled in song and dance stage routines. On an expedition to each other, they took quite a shining, which led over time to their lives intertwining. She has unlocked the puzzle of making learning fun. As a nature interpreter, she certainly hits the home run. He took his dad's honey and began to make mead. From these humble beginnings, who knew where it would lead? She entertains and educates with Alberta Parks, and him, Honey Buck and Mead Hito are the ones that get top marks. To the Etol community, they have given so much, practica jobs, mentorship, and role modeling so clutch. So please join me in the applause they both deserve so duly. Give it up for the Etol power couple, Nathan and Julie. So come on down. Sierra, let's get a picture.
It's got to be the right way. Wait. Here we go. Thank you.
Folks, we have a lot of prizes to give away tonight. We are going to start with the 50-50 winner. This person is winning just over $500, and the other $500 will go directly into the Allen Derbyshire Fund to help students get those major requirements. The number is D1467. Natalie Tariff, can you come up?
Are we bringing her up?
Yeah. Next up is our door prize winner.
Should we have a drum roll? Probably not. Oh yeah, yeah. Jory Hanson Young. Did I say that right? Yeah? You here? Yeah. So, if you haven't already, now's a great time to get your numbers out for the prizes, the raffle prizes. So have your tickets in hand. Which one is this? Do we know?
This is box number 9.
This is box number 9. What is box number 9?
We don't know.
Down there? We don't know. Alpenglow. It's called Alpenglow. All right. The number is 0300008. 0300008. Nobody? It's mine. Do we draw again?
No.
Or do we got someone who has it? You got. All right, so come grab that. We'll do the next one. Do you want to read this one?
Number 3? What is this?
We should try to get these going fast.
This is box number 3. It has the aquabatics stuff in it. The number is 241689. Again, 241689. If that is you, please come up and get your award.
All right, up next is box number 15. It is the IGA Nature box, so I'm told. The number is 9375339. If that's you, come on down. Anyone? I can read it again. I'll read a little slower. 9, 3, 7, 5, 3, 3, 9. Nine, 3, 7, 5, 3, 3, 9.
There we go.
Hey.
You just grabbed the box. This is bin number 7, and it has the bike shop hat in it. I have ticket number 9375440. Again, 93. Oh, we got a winner!
All right. This is, what number was this? Box 11. This is Climb On Dude. It's the climbing package. The number is 2, 4, 1, 7, 7, 5. 2, 4, 1, 7, 7, 5. Nice.
I have box number 4. It has a gear wash in it, I believe it, and an Arc'teryx jacket. Number 408994. Again, 4089. Yeah! Yeah. I have box number 10. It has some stuff from the distillery. I have number 4089367. Again, 4089367. We got a winner. That is my mother, you guys.
All right, I've got box number 5. It is Arctic Flower, I believe. It's got some Arc'teryx stuff in it. The number is 81996770.
I have box number 13. This has an embroidery by Becca the Hiker piece. Stunning. Number 9375229. Well, it sounds like there's a winner.
All right, I've got box number 12. It is the Dad Starter Pack. I've got 9, 3, 7, 5, 3, 6, 2. 9, 3, 7, 5, 3, 6, 2. 9, 3, 7, 5, 3, 6, 2. We got one? Yeah.
I have box number 8. This has some Starbucks mugs, a YMCA guest pass. It is ticket number 4089175. Again, 4089175. 8 and 8. Do I have a winner? There is one.
All right, this is box number 14, called The Mountains Are Calling. Ticket number 4089353. 4089353. 4089353. Yeah? Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I have box number 6. This has a first aid kit, a Gerber knife, and a gift certificate from Rocky Mountain Adventure Medicine. I have ticket number 9375105. One more time, 9375105. There we go.
All right, this is box number 1, called Front Country Livin'. Number is 4089271. 4089271.
That's you? I have box number 2. This is Backcountry Livin'. We have ticket number 4089072. Again, 408.
That ticket that fell on the ground, that fell out of the box there, that was your ticket. You were that close.
Well, you guys, that is all the prizes we have. So now we get to move to what all the excitement has been building up. In my hand, I hold the winners of the photo competition. If you win your category, please make sure you come up on stage and accept your prize.
All right. I shouldn't read this one either. That's my girlfriend. All right. The category is sense of place. And the winner is Take a Peek by Daniel. Or Danielle. Danielle?
I don't know.
Danielle?
You can't read any of these, except you can read this one.
You read one next.
My next winner in category Back to Action is A World on Thin Ice by Maddie.
All right. The winner for Wildlife and Flowers is Golden Boy by Matt.
In the next category, Our Changing Environment, I have
There was a mix-up. Well, no,
it's all good, it's all good.
Winners are still the winners.
Changing Environment is still you.
Changing Environment was
In
Matt
category Back to Action, what we had already awarded, our apologies, I have Snow Surfer by Tegan Nami. All right, you guys, and now for the main attention. I would like to welcome my fellow student, Sydney Thomas, onto stage to announce the winner of the Esker Award. Please give her a warm welcome.
Come on, Sydney. We're going to do a picture.
First? Okay.
They wanted a quick picture of the photo winner, so we're doing that, and then Sydney, we're going to make you wait a little longer, build the suspense.
All right, so hello again, everyone. My name is Sydney. I'm in Etol because I couldn't choose between environmental science and physical literacy, and I found out about this program, and now here I am. Yeah! One thing I'll mention, one of my highlights of my program was winter camping. To all you Etol students in the audience who haven't experienced this yet, it's awesome. Despite the fact that it was minus 14, it was one of the best sleeps of my life. All right, so Esker Award. Can we get a drum roll, please? This year's Esker Award goes to Lorianne Corso with her film, Better by Bike.
Tegan started this last year where he said a little speech after he won the Esker, so I'll just say a few things out there. So yes, I was crazy. My son did say it was a psychotic bike trip. I tried to convince him to come and he didn't. He's watching tonight from home, so thanks, Will. So I just want to say though, if you ever think that you want to go out and you want to do something and you think you're not in shape, it's too hard, you can't do it, I'm here to tell you that we have to struggle with our mind, not our body. So if you want to do something, just get out there and just do it. Just go for it. Thank you. Thank you for everybody. Thank you.
Right, so not quite finally, we want to bring all of the Etol 4270 students onto stage. This is the class that planned this event. We're in it, but so are all of these folks. And you know, you see us, but you don't see them. and they were just absolutely instrumental. They worked so goddamn hard on this, so they need to be recognized. So come on up.
Get them all. We'll do a big bow. We're doing a bow. All get in a straight line. We're gonna bow.
We gotta move down. Move down. Go.
There's a lot of us.
All these folks.
Do this. We should have practiced then.
Get out of here.
I loved your marine like the context that was amazing.
Sorry. Get off stage.
All right, and lastly, we gotta thank you guys, the folks who showed up today. This would be kind of silly if you didn't. So thank you so much for showing up, for supporting the film night, the program, and all of everything you all do for Etol and for film night. Thanks.
Before we exit, you guys, we ask that everyone take out all their recycling and garbage with them. And I hope I see you at Westgate Social for the after party that will run from now until 1 a.m. Good night.
We are officially hanging out.